All right, lads, welcome back to InsideMC, the podcast where I sit down with an amazing guest every single week. And if you're watching on YouTube or video form on Spotify, you may have noticed there's something a little different. Firstly, episode 200. We haven't done anything crazy. Actually, technically, we have done something crazy for it because we've gotten a very cool guest on. But with episode 200 also means a change in studio. And thanks to Rory Animates, we have upgraded the scene a little bit. And no better person, to get my wording correct here, no better person to bring on for the new studio than Smajor.
It's me. Hello, I'm Smajor.
I've really butchered that intro, I've come to realize. That's like probably my worst intro in a while. But it's okay.
You know, it's your 200th that happens.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing very good, thank you. I've been very busy. I'm gonna drop it here now, the quick promotion, just to get out of the way, if that's okay.
Go for it.
I have been very busy working on the brand new InsideMC Patreon. With episode 200, we thought we'd push the boat out a little bit. And also, I've received a few DMs on Twitter asking where people can listen ad-free. So you can do that now for a price. You have to pay every month, £5. But £5 a month to listen to 4, sometimes 5 or 6 podcasts every single month, ad-free, you know, including this one. You get to listen to this one early as well.
Good value.
Exactly. And also, like, this will come out on Friday the 24th. However, it could come out as early as the 22nd through the Patreon as well. So you get early access to podcasts. There we go.
You want to hear all of the gossip and drama and all of the things I'm definitely going to talk about.
I mean, the podcasts have been really long lately as well. I mean, like, I feel like it's a fairly good value for money. Because, I mean, we talked
basically just a big yap session.
Exactly, yeah. It used to be very interview. I don't know how much you know about the podcast, so if you've listened to any previous ones, if it's come across your timeline or whatever. But I feel like since I mentioned this a few times, since TwitchCon, I feel like I've merged from worrying about making it specifically interviewing to now kind of bringing you on and still interviewing you and asking questions, but actually just having a yap. And it means the podcasts have been so much longer as well.
Yeah, exactly.
More editing.
It's just more casual.
Exactly. Before we get into more of that, then I always like to give the introduction for you to introduce yourself. So, who are you? What do you do? And if you have a fun fact, either about yourself or in general, floor's yours.
Hi, I'm Scott, also known as Smajor or Dangthatsalongname. I used to always joke that I am very much a branding nightmare because it is different across all platforms. And then, yeah, I make Minecraft content, dipped into other variety of games, but mostly known for Minecraft. Kind of the meme that the S in SMP stands for Smajor because I'm in so many of them. And the thing I'm mostly widely known for is probably organizing MCC, which I do with Nox Crew. I'd say monthly. Obviously, we have occasional months where we're off, but mostly monthly. So.
Can we actually no, I was gonna ask you a question, but we're gonna get into all of those topics there. That's the problem, right? And I think, like, alongside being a branding nightmare because you've got so many different names and all that kind of jazz, you're also a podcast nightmare as well because you just have so many different things to talk about.
Yeah, you're like, right, which one do we lock it down to?
Well, like, I've said this before with InsideMC. The thing that I love about it is it's like dwelled into so many different areas, like SMP, MCSR thing. But then when I bring someone on and they like have that specific niche to talk about, so like they're maybe mainly an SMP creator, or they're mainly a speedrunner. Whereas you, you know, yeah, like you said, MCC, SMPs, like I'm surprised you haven't dwelled into speedrunning at all yet.
I don't like it. I don't enjoy speedrunning.
Really? Why?
It's too repetitive. I don't. It's the same as like I don't tend to really enjoy like platformer games because it just feels too repetitive. Just doing the same thing over and over and over with minuscule differences, hoping to shave seconds off, just does not entertain me. Like,
I could be wrong in saying this, but you used to work in retail, right?
Yeah.
I can see why you wanted to make YouTube a full-time career now.
To be fair, I enjoyed my retail job. Like,
Really?
it was basically just that I was at uni and doing a retail job and doing YouTube and stuff all at the same time. And it kind of got to a point where it was like YouTube was earning me more money than like my retail job was, or more than what I'd really get from any uni kind of job. So I ended up just deciding to like pivot out of that because YouTube was earning well. But I actually enjoyed my job and I stayed in my job for so long.
What did you do, if you don't mind my asking?
Like at uni or at retail?
Both.
At retail, I worked in a couple different places. I worked in Homebase for a while, which I loved.
Okay,
Homebase was great.
I love Homebase.
That one actually felt like a retail job where I was learning things like different types of light bulbs and paint types and like all the different actual stuff I use. Then I worked in B&M for a short period of time, which was not ideal. Just the very like the work culture in there is very much like the focus is stocking shelves, which I'm much more of a people person, so Homebase suited me more, where focus was like look after the guests. And then I worked in Argos up until I stopped doing it to do my YouTube stuff. So.
Oh, nice.
That one was cool because I learned the phonetic alphabet because that's the system they use for the storage rooms.
What is the phonetic alphabet again? You've put me on the
like
spot here.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie.
Yes, of course.
Like,
no, my name's Charlie.
Your name's Charlie?
My name's Charlie. Yeah.
That was funny.
So yeah, that's how I've remembered C so easily as well. It's great.
Yeah.
But it also kind of, when I'm spelling my name on the phone and I go like Charlie.
That's the most time I use it because like with my accent over the phone, somebody's like, what did you say? And I'm just like, right, okay, so Bravo, November. Like, the best way I found to make it work. It's the only time I use it.
It's just, yeah, but it's just a bit awkward and you go, oh, my name's Sean, and I go, sorry, I'm like, C for Charlie. And it's like, oh. And I'm like spelling out the rest of my name and they're like, oh, you said Charlie from the get-go, I see. So,
yeah.
What about uni then? What are you studying now?
3D animation is what I was studying. I wanted to do like animation and games and like Disney movies and all that. But I learned very quickly that I did not have the patience for 3D animation. It has a lot of like do a tiny bit, frame it, do a tiny bit, frame it, do a tiny bit, frame it. And it's again, I think it comes down to that I don't like repetitiveness. Like the same reason I don't like speed running, because same thing over and over again. That was what I got like with animation. I really like character concept stuff. So like coming up with ideas, but the actual making the models and rigging them and keyframing and all that just got a lot. And it got to a point where like for me, uni obviously is meant to open doors and give you opportunities, but for me it was stopping me do stuff that I was able to do through YouTube. So eventually after my third year, me and my professors were like, yeah, no, I think I should just go and do the YouTube thing, actually. I really think that probably makes more sense. So I still graduated. I got a bachelor's degree.
Oh, wow.
Just without honours. So in Scotland, uni's 4 years to do it with honours, and then 3 if you leave without the honours, but just get the bachelor's. Which I was like, realistically, if I ever need my degree or like stuff for a job, I'm more likely to get one from the 13 years of content work than I am from having a bachelor's degree in animation.
At least you kind of had that backup.
Yeah, exactly.
I studied accounting in college, and I like actually got my like, AAT and all that kind of jazz. But I just have like it's gonna sound so weird to say, but I think you'll understand it. Is I just don't want to be sitting behind a desk all day, and
yeah,
I'll explain it like a bit further. I know you get it, but just for the listeners here, I know I'd be sitting behind a desk all day if I make content a full-time career, which I'd love to do one day, and it's what I've been striving for the last like 3 or so years, and I think getting closer now, which is nice. But with accounting, you're kind of sitting behind and you're just like looking at an Excel spreadsheet, or you're like, you know, doing numbers and stuff, and I'm good at numbers. But with content creation, you're recording, you're streaming, you're collaborating, you're talking now like we're doing, and then editing. Like it's like accounting would have felt, and I think it kind of links into what you were saying, a bit repetitive as opposed to content creation. It's so different every day. Like I can imagine
you wear a lot of hats.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been like I've been using the phrase a little bit lately for myself because of InsideMC with the jack of all trades but master of none.
Yeah.
I feel like that can be very content creation, which is fun.
I think there's also a difference between like working at a desk job for yourself and then working at a desk job for a company. Like it's yes, I'm sat at a desk, but my desk has 3 monitors and some fancy lights and all of the games and music I want to play and like messaging with my friends.
Exactly.
Whereas if I was at an actual office job, I don't think they'd be as happy with me loading up YouTube in one of the monitors while I do things.
No, I'm working in retail right now as well to quickly go back to that. but where I work is we serve like specific people from a specific company. So like you can only access it if you work for the company basically. And it's so like they asked me to work today and I said no. I said sorry, I can't. I said I got Scott Smajor coming on the podcast. I hope you understand. And they were like yes, no.
They were like yeah, of course, my God, yeah, I'm sorry.
I was like, please, we'll actually pay you to stay at home and do the podcast. But no, yeah, it's literally just go in, stock shelves, serve the exact same rude people every single day. And then like it's kind of tough because if you're having a bad day, like where you just want to be quiet, and then your regular nice customers come in and they want to be all chatty, and you're like, I don't want to talk to you right now. And like you talk to them and they can tell you off, and then the next day they won't be as chatty because they think that you now hate them. And it's like, no, I was just having a quiet day. So yeah, it's a bit of a rough one if I'm honest, but you know, it's okay. Speaking of you more so, we were talking about you mentioned there about when you was in the job and also uni, you kind of picked up content creation and you was doing that. Was Dangthatsalongname your first name when you got into content?
Oh no, God no. My sort of experience with YouTube for the longest time way back then is it wasn't a job that you could do, like it was just something people did for fun. And I would like start a channel, do it for 6 months, not really get anywhere, give up, get bored, and then I would forget the password. And this is before Google on YouTube, so it was just you made your own accounts on YouTube. So I'd forget the username and password, login info, and start a new channel. And did that a few times. So there are like a couple old channels of mine that exist on the internet, but you're never going to, like, no one will ever find them because they aren't aliases I've ever gone by since Dangthatsalongname worked out. But there also means that I cannot take them down because I don't know where the channel is. They're just really like the old starting like YouTube thing where it's like the Camtasia watermark and like black bars along the top and bottom, like just the usual what's the word? Type of stuff of like everyone's first experiences back in the day.
I made this YouTube channel when I was 10 and I regret it and can't get rid of it because I don't know the email kind of vibe.
Yep, very that.
Yeah, I have to say, there's like some Twitter accounts out there. There's only one other person in this community who knows about it because we were calling the other day and we were laughing at it. And we were just like looking back at my old Twitter accounts and I'm like, I don't know the email to any of those. It's so bad. I actually got one. The other ones, I was like looking at old tweets from like 2013 when I was, how old would I have been? And that was 13 years ago. So I would have been 10 years of age. Why was I on Twitter at 10 years of age?
Oh, wait, you were 10 in 2013?
Yeah, I'm 23 now, so yeah.
I hate that. I hate that.
2013 was when you started content creation, right?
No? It would have been...
Or was it 2012?
Well, no, it was 2013, you're right.
Oh, so I know my stuff, so.
I know you do. It was like July... I think it's actually this weekend is my channel birthday. It'll be 14 years this weekend.
And you've come on the InsideMC podcast to celebrate.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Exactly. Happy birthday to me. Did you get me a present?
I did.
Oh, you did?
yeah. I'll have to give it to you at TwitchCon next year.
Yeah. Just pass on then. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's you know, I want to give it to you in person because then like it'll mean more.
I get that. I get that.
You know. What's the okay, this is like a two-parter question, right? Because it then leads into the next part. You'll see.
Okay.
Let me cook. Firstly, why the name Dangthatsalongname? And secondly, why has it not been rebranded?
So Lizzie, it was actually years ago when I was trying to come up with another channel name because I was like restarting my YouTube thing, and it was something that like Lizzie LD Shadow Lady had made like many videos or bits of people asking like how to start YouTube and all this, and one of her advices was like, don't pick a username that's easy to remember, easy to spell, and doesn't contain any like weird underscores or numbers or X's, because that used to be the thing at that era, was everyone would put like XX underscore something underscore XX, like that was always the like the way people were naming themselves. So I was like, okay, can't use like, I didn't want to use just Smajor and all that, and I was like, I want to use something more memorable. And originally it was going to be Dangthatsalongname, but then I remembered that like some places in America consider damn like a swear word, whereas like in the UK I don't think we have the same weight to that word. But I was like, I'll do Dangthatsalongname, like that's fine. And then it just sort of stuck. It became like the type of thing that parents love it. Like whenever I would do like meet and greets at convention, the parents would always come and be like, hey, like funny name. Though I didn't also think about the implications of like years down the line having to sit and sign Dangthatsalongname on things constantly over and over again. I had very many iterations. It used to be Dangthatsalongname, but trying to fit all of that on a pop socket was difficult. I did it, but it was difficult.
Did you not think of like narrowing it down? Sorry to cut you off.
I did then narrow it to DTLN for a while. That was what I changed it to. But now I'm more known as Smajor, so I just write Smajor. But the reason I never changed it was I used to always joke that I was a branding nightmare. And I always said, like, if I could get just blanket S Major across everything, I would change it. Because right now I have it on Twitch, but like my Minecraft is still S Major 1995, my Twitter is still Smajor 1995, my Instagram still got the 1995. So it was kind of like if I could get Smajor on everything, I would change YouTube. But other than that, they're already mismatchy. Plus, when you search like Smajor 1995 on YouTube, like I still come up anyway. Like my Dangthatsalongname channel still comes up for both Smajor and S Major 1995. But the reason I actually it went from something that I didn't like to something that I actually was kind of glad to have, was because obviously in my many years of doing content and things, the internet has changed its opinion of whether it likes me or doesn't like me for periods of time. And what I often found was the people that would be silly enough to trying to harass me over like MCC decisions or Minecraft stuff weren't quite bright enough to realize that I was also Dangthatsalongname, so it never leaked over to my YouTube. It would only ever stay on like Twitter, maybe TikTok, but it never reached over to YouTube because people weren't putting two and two together that I was also that person.
See. Huh.
So having the separation has actually been quite nice for just allowing some sort of separation from the general internet, because I feel like YouTube exists quite in a bubble. So it's been nice having that separation. It came in quite handy in the past.
See, I kind of have the flip side problem because I ditched the Insane Orbits YouTube channel, so it's like now YouTube, so it's InsideMC on YouTube, Spotify, even Instagram I've rebranded to InsideMC Studios for better like search.
Yeah.
Twitter is Insane Orbits and InsideMC, but Twitch is Insane Orbits because that's like my own thing. But no one ever knows. Whenever like I mention it a few times here and there, like not as a promotion, but like there in conversation here. But,
yeah.
Like people will come to my like Twitch account and I'm like, they'll be talking like, oh, you sound familiar. And they're like, wait, are you InsideMC? I'm like, yeah. Or like I'll go into someone else's Twitch chat and we'll be talking about the podcast, and then someone will be like, oh yeah, I love that podcast. And then the person in the stream will go, oh yeah, this is the guy who owns it. And they're like, what? So no one knows that Orbits is InsideMC. They just know either one or the other, which is quite interesting.
I said right now it always feels like a bad thing, but it could eventually be a bonus, is what I've found.
So yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, like all it takes is not all it takes is, but like one mistake or not bad decision per se, but like one situation, like you said, and then if someone hates one project, it won't like I've realized it a few times. Not to talk too negative here, but like someone might not like me, but they'll love InsideMC, and it's like, but I'm the same guy.
It's the same as like people might not like me, but they like MCC or the project I'm in. It's kind of like it's hard to like. Okay, you can choose not to like me, but you can't avoid me. Like I'm going to be there. It's my stuff.
Exactly.
I think the thing is like with the internet is like I used to be such a people pleaser. Like I used to be I needed everyone to like me. Because it was just how I always felt. Like I felt like I need everyone to like me, and that was the only way I was like worth anything, was if everyone enjoyed me. And I learned very quickly with the internet, like that's not the case. But I also learned that like there's people like just in life that like you don't like, not for any reason, just sometimes you just don't vibe with them. Like there's so many people, you're not going to get on with everyone. And when I kind of realized it's like there's just people I don't like for no particular reason. Like I can't expect everyone to also like me for no particular reason, like, and just learn not to deep it kind of thing. Like, you can't ever have everyone be a fan. So just do what you do, and the people who want to like you for you will find you.
What about the name? So obviously you started off as Dangthatsalongname, and like you mentioned there, you rebranded to Smajor, 1995, all that kind of jazz on different platforms. Where does this new name come from then?
It was just something that I thought would be easy to remember. That's literally it. There's no secret meaning or thing. I literally was just like, I need a name that's fun, easy to remember. And I thought that like it's kind of that tongue-in-cheek, Dangthatsalongname, because obviously it's a long name. So it just became a funny bit that I stuck with.
It's funny. I'm looking on the YouTube search tab now, and I've typed in SC, and it shows up Scott Major, Scottish YouTuber, and then I click on that, and it shows up the Dangthatsalongname account. So it actually shows you as like a proper person, and it just doesn't take you to a channel that's called Scott Major, which is really funny. I see what you mean now. But looking at your old content, you didn't always do Minecraft content. You did a bit of Minecraft content here and there. I mean, like, you, alongside a few of the people who I've brought on recently, have been around for like a very long time. For instance, like CPK, Smallish Beans. I'm just looking at like the crafting mama series that you uploaded for a while there. But you also did variety content. So kind of what led you to, I guess, move into Minecraft full time?
Minecraft's something like I've played Minecraft since Alpha was the very first time I played it. And I remember I didn't actually like it. Like I was like, this game's stupid. Like, why would anyone like this? It was one of my friends at school at the time that introduced me to it. And then once it kind of like released in beta when you can buy the game, that was kind of when I like dipped back in properly. And I was like, oh no, wait, now I get it. Because like, I just didn't understand things of like, I would just click once, not realizing I had to hold down to break things. Like it was stuff like that where I was like, that feels like not intuitive. Like I have to hold down my button. Because I was used to playing like World of Warcraft and MMO things where like if you wanted to mine an ore, you just went up and you right clicked it and then it would mine it the whole time and then it would be done. Like you wouldn't have to sit and hold. But I kind of like have dipped. I said like my older channels were Minecraft content. So Minecraft has always been kind of my day one, my go-to. It's just like I sort of chopped and changed, trying different things based on the type of content I watched. So like at the time, I think when I started my Dangthatsalongname channel, I was more into watching like kind of like vloggery, sit down, talk to the camera, like kind of a bit, kind of a almost like a stand-up routine on YouTube, like that kind of vibe is how I'd describe it, like that era. And that was type of the stuff I was watching. So I like tried dipping my toe into that. Like over the years, I did really well when Among Us was a big thing. I did Among Us for a long period. I did Sims for a while. I did gacha videos. I've kind of dipped everything, but I always like coming back to Minecraft. Minecraft's sort of like my home in the sense of content.
Yeah, I mean, you even dipped into, and I don't know if you still do, but like League of Legends for a while as well there.
I still play League. It's not something like League and World of Warcraft kind of became my games for like me. As I used to always describe it as I'd get like gamer guilt, where like I'd play a game and then feel guilty for playing it because I'm like, well, I could be streaming or I could be recording or I should save this for work kind of thing. And that kind of happens like when Animal Crossing was big during the pandemic. And like I was doing my island on stream, but then I'd also play off stream and then I'd feel like I couldn't do much off stream because I'd be worried that like I was missing too much content for chat. Whereas League of Legends and World of Warcraft kind of were games that were much more removed from my content. So you're like, I've done the occasional like League montage video, I've done the occasional League and WoW stream. But generally, like those were years ago. Nowadays, I like having those games as like, those are for me. Like those are for me to play with my friends, not work. Which I think has been a healthier separation.
Crazy that like even in content creation you get that, right? I mean, it's like with like as you know, for your time working, you kind of separate your work colleagues with your social life. Like I'd go out in an old job, I went out drinking on like some Friday nights with my work colleagues, but they never knew anything about what I did in my free time, bar like the little bits that I wanted them to know, kind of thing. And it's interesting that works with the content creation sphere as well, where you have I play Minecraft, like it's even with me, I play Minecraft, I stream Minecraft, I do a podcast based around Minecraft. In my free time, I don't play Minecraft. If I'm not streaming it, I don't touch the game. I play like FIFA. I've been playing a bit of Mecha Chameleon lately. Like just little bits like that. I don't. Yeah, it's just interesting how that also equates to content life, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just having. I mean, like Minecraft. It's funny where I wouldn't say I play it off stream in the sense like I don't have my own little Minecraft world that I only play in private, but like I'll quite often through the day go on and do like, for instance, like right now the biggest SMP that I've got going on is the flight. So before I was like on call with you, I was on the flight like repairing gear, like writing stuff for like streams, tidying up inventory and storage. Like I just do the kind of slightly more boring things that I can just do while watching something on YouTube. Like I'll do that through the day.
Yeah.
Which is kind of for work, but it's not, and it also doesn't feel like work because I'm just playing myself. It's not the same as like other than like I'd say right now I don't really have a game I just sit and play, if that makes sense. Like if we're playing League, it's because we're playing as like a group of 5 on an evening, but through the day I'm not sat playing anything. I'm normally either watching some stuff or planning for work stuff or scrolling like social medias mindlessly or like doing adult things around the house that need done. that sort of stuff. But I don't really have a game right now that I'm like, if I'm not streaming or doing something, I'm playing. It was Pokopia for a while, but once you miss a few days of that, you just kind of stop going back.
Yeah, it feels like every day is a work day for me at the moment. But that's because I'm balancing two things at once, I guess. I don't really have like, if you're doing one thing full time, you kind of have the free time. Whereas if I'm like today and tomorrow, for instance, I'm off work, then today and tomorrow I now have to work on content stuff, because then the only time I really get to work on content stuff. It's like whenever people ask me like, what are you up to, I'm like, working. They never know which working I'm on about. I'm always working. So but it's fun. I really enjoy it. So and it sounds like you wouldn't still be here and you wouldn't be on the podcast today if you didn't enjoy what you did either.
No, I mean, I always describe what I do is like, I always say like content creation is we're both always working and never working, like at the same time.
Yeah.
Where like I can decide to go out for seeing friends in the afternoon and just not do anything. Like I can make that choice to be like, yeah, today I'm not going to do anything and I'm going to go out and do like hang out or take the day off. But at the same time, like it's kind of impossible to go anywhere without having work at the back of your head. Like there's always some idea comes in for a stream or a video, some thing that needs replied to. And there's always just something at the back of your head being like, it's not like a normal like 9 to 5. When I worked in retail, when I would leave my shift, I just would not think about work at all until the next time I was in. Like it was able to really easily disconnect. Whereas content creation, especially because it was something that kind of was a hobby that became a job, and then also pretty much all of my friends are through content, people that I've met doing the same. So like in a way they're work colleagues, like, and friends. You can't really escape the content bubble. You kind of like, once it becomes your job, it is your entire life, like in most aspects. So it has its advantages, but it has that kind of like thing with like other work where you can't just as easily cut yourself from it.
I think I mean, like, it kind of goes with TwitchCon as well, but we'll get into talking a bit more about TwitchCon later on. But it's kind of like, I was chatting to a few people, we went out drinking one night, and it was like with a bunch of friends, and majority of them had been on the podcast, which is funny. And one thing that they said to me, turned around and said to me, and it didn't say in a native way, that I'm very content brain. So I'm talking a lot about myself here. Again, this is just me adding to what you were saying. They were saying about being content brained, and I went to TwitchCon as like a holiday and just to have fun. But then I think naturally, I didn't mean to, but do you know how you said there about the kind of always thinking about it even when you're not doing it? I kind of was going up to people and like, I guess I don't like the word as much, but networking. It was like unintentional. And also, I guess I did the same thing to you at the football game. I walked up to you at the end. First time, actually, technically we have met in the past, which I'll tell you about later. But I was like, our first time meeting properly. And then within the span of what, like 20 words, I invited you on the podcast. So
yeah, pretty much.
You know, but you seemed interested, so that works out as well.
Cameron spoke highly of you, so...
I've heard
you had that vouch on your side.
I don't know what he said about me, but I messaged him yesterday about it, and I said to him, maybe it wasn't all because of him. I have felt a bit more successful since he came on the podcast. So
Cam is very good at like, if he likes someone and is like thinks they're a good person, like he's very, what's the word, complimentary. Like he'll make a point of saying like, oh yeah, Orbits is really good, like really nice guy, you should do it, kind of thing. Like, and I think when you see someone you know personally that has done it, like it kind of like, oh okay, it's not going to be a weird like, oh we got you kind of thing. Like you can trust Cam's word, and his went well. I think that also probably then helped the fact that other people were like, oh well, if Cam's was fine.
Be 100% honest with me. Was Cam right? Are you feeling Cam was right at the moment? Or
I know we're only half an hour in. I've still got another 2 hours to decide whether you're whether I'm right with you or not.
I feel like the use of only instead of already is telling at the moment, but we'll see. Well, that's it. One thing I want to get into talking about with you, because I think it's just always an interesting topic, is that there's a lot of people who I watched when I was younger and all that kind of jazz, who made Minecraft content, let's say 10 years ago, right? And a lot of them sadly aren't around still, or they are around, but like they're not as prominent in the space, for lack of a better word. So how, it's a weird one, but you might know an answer to it. How did you go about keeping the longevity? How have you like
I
Started
think,
content. Yeah.
yeah, I understand what you mean. It's basically like, how do you stay relevant? Like,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
I think a big part of it is willingness to adapt. Like, I feel like I've grown with my audience quite well. In the sense that, like, back when I first started, I would say I was a lot more like family friendly was how I'd describe it. Whereas now I'd say my content is like PG-13. Like, my actual main audience is late teens, young adults now, because I'm a bit more open with my sexuality. Like, I'm a bit more adult in some of my language. Like, I'm not swearing left, right, and centre, but I'll throw in the occasional one here or there, and I'm not as like taboo about it as I used to be. And I think also, like, a lot of creators, I think, get into that mindset of like, well, this is how I've done it, and this used to work, so I have to just keep at it. And if it stops working, that's because some other outside source, like the algorithm, it's not my fault. I think there are times when that's true. I think a lot of the time it's being willing to change, willing to adapt and grow with the times. Like, for example, like SMP content is what obviously I grew up in, it's what I blew up doing, and it's not something that performs nearly as well as it used to. But for me, like, SMP content is really good for returning viewers. So like, if someone already knows my channel and likes my SMP content, they're going to come back for it. But that isn't ideal for bringing in new people. Like, if you're a new person to a channel, you click on it and then suddenly you're like, oh, they're on episode 26. Like, that's a lot of content for me to try and get up on. I'm not going to bother. Like, it's sort of like, that's too deep in, I'll just skip it. So that's where you're doing like the one-off videos, like my escape rooms or the build and seeks or the death swaps, where those are a lot more digestible and like, you could watch that one having watched nothing else and it'll still make sense to you because they exist purely in a bubble. Like, you can watch that one video in isolation and it'll still make full sense to you. And I think for me, the other big bit was like, MCC and Among Us like opened up my social circle like massively. It used to be very much like people would kind of stick to the people they knew, which is totally fair. And most of the time when I'm recording or doing stuff, like, I do gravitate to the people I'm already friends with because I have known them for years. I enjoy spending time with them, and I know we get on well for content, so it makes sense to. But I think a lot of people, like, as you're saying, a lot of creators back in the day either moved on or fell off it. And it's sort of like, if you aren't able to kind of like keep putting yourself out there and finding new audiences and new people to work with, you're going to eventually stagnate, because you'll eventually hit a point where everyone that could have found you has, and they've already decided whether they wanted to watch or not. So for me, doing like Among Us, which then blew up my social circle massively because everyone was playing it, to then MCC, where like, I always describe MCC as like the Smash Bros of Minecraft. Like, that's always been my goal, is I want to take like that person from Hermitcraft and that person from Lifesteal and that person from the speedrunning community, and then that person who dips into Minecraft once every few months, and mix them together and see what like they kind of make. Like, in what world would we have normally had Green and Feinberg on a team, like, interacting? It's just been, it's my favorite thing for MCC, is just bringing in these different people. And I think MCC also like kind of encouraged that for a lot of the space. Like, I know a lot of the hermits just kind of kept to themselves because that was how Hermitcraft has always done it. Whereas once MCC started, like, if not all of the hermits have told me before, like, the reason they like doing MCC is it's a way to meet new people, because the only SMP they really have time for is Hermitcraft. So having this event that they can do where they get to meet people from different spaces has been really useful and rewarding for them, for expanding their social circle and getting, I think, sort of like removing a little bit of this like shroud and mystery that like it always felt like certain creators and spaces had, of like, they were so unobtainable unless you were in that space, and to get into that space it was like better chances of winning the lottery than getting picked for joining like that series. So I think opening it up and letting people mingle and match in ways that they didn't has also helped, and is a way that I would say sort of keeps you more, I don't want to say like, if I use the word relevant, I'm not saying people who don't are unrelevant, but it keeps you more in the space, it keeps you more in the current and knowing around the community, which I think is always helpful.
You've done a perfect transition into talking about MCC, so we'll build on that now. But I wanted to quickly say what I like about your, like, you mentioned it a little bit ago there, about like the escape room videos and stuff like that. I think what's really good about it is it's a series without being a series. So like, you could basically slap all of those videos into a playlist and it can be a series, but you don't, like you said, you don't have to watch the previous ones to understand what the new one's about.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a good which is good content. It's a good concept, and I like it.
The hope with the escape rooms is always that, like, someone might be a really big fan of Joel, like Smaller Speed, and then they'll see him on the thumbnail for an escape room and they'll click and want to see how Joel does at it. And then they'll maybe like find it quite funny how Catherine did it and be like, oh, that's really funny. Like, I wonder what she does in her content, and then go and look at what her channel is. Or that maybe there'll be someone who's never seen mine, but maybe sees the person thumbnail and wants to see what like content I do. It's always just been a way of kind of like, again, sort of showing different creators to different audiences. That's always kind of been my goal with content.
We'll dip into MCC now. I feel like this is going to be a fairly long topic because I have loads to talk about.
What do you mean? It's such a little. It's just a little thing we do.
Yeah, but it's a little thing you do that's turned into the biggest, if not the biggest Minecraft projects, right?
Yeah, I think we are the biggest Minecraft event in the world. Like, at least at our peaks, we definitely were. At one point, we had more concurrent viewers than the Olympics.
Wasn't that true? Like, that was at the same time as the Olympics as well, right? Like,
yeah, it was during I want to say the Winter Olympics. It was like, we were just held shy of 1 million concurrent viewers at one point. But that was like pandemic times when stream numbers were like, we're never getting stream numbers like that again. That era of streaming was crazy when people would stream with like 200,000 viewers. Like,
it's kind of crazy how it's interesting because COVID got so many people into content creation on like the false metric of this.
Yeah, really. Yeah, if you didn't know streaming before the pandemic, like, it really messed a lot of people's like what expectations for an average stream viewership is. But I mean, also when you like actually take a second to think about it, you're like, yeah, well, it would make sense during a global pandemic when everyone was stuck inside that there'd be a lot more people who could sit and watch a stream concurrently. But when it's everyone's back to day-to-day work and normality's kind of taken back in and routine's gone, like, people have school, people have work, people have things they need to do. You can't sit and watch a 6-hour Minecraft roleplay stream anymore.
It's actually COVID is the reason that I didn't take up accounting. Like, I know I mentioned earlier about the not wanting to sit behind a desk, which is like the main reason. But I was in my second year of college when it happened, and I just about passed. Like, I did great in the first year and just about passed the second because we were studying online. But instead of like while I was sitting in a call, like, you know, studying, I had that on my left monitor, my right monitor, I was editing a video. So
yeah.
You know, it's not the best for my career choices, but you know, I enjoyed it. So, right, MCC. I guess to start from the very beginning here, right? It's like a two-parter that links into something else briefly. I love doing this. So firstly, MCC started in 2019, right?
November 2019.
Correct me if I'm wrong. 2019 is also the year that you co-hosted Minecon or Minecraft Live in Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft Live in Nashville.
Okay, which one do you want to talk about first? We can either do MCC talk and then Minecraft like live later, because we can kind of link it into TwitchCon, or the other way around. Which one do you want to do?
We'll do Minecraft Live later, and we'll do MCC now.
Okay. So how did MCC? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Basically, MCC came about because during June that year, I was part of like Twitch's Pride Month people, so like I got front page for like certain slots during that. And one of the times I was streaming a Minecraft to like 10k viewers or something because it was front page slot, and Keemstar came into my chat and basically was like, "Do you want to do this Minecraft tournament I'm doing?" And I was like, "Huh? Like what?" And he's like, "Yeah, if you kill 5 creepers in 10 minutes, you can join." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." Like, he didn't stay in my chat. He had no idea whether I actually did it or not. But then like came back into the chat, was like, "Do you do it?" We said yes. And then he was like, "Okay, like I followed you on Twitter," like added me to this DM, and basically was like, "Yeah, we're doing this Minecraft Mondays event," which is just a stream event every Monday, which was basically just playing like several rounds of survival games. And it was just a bunch of different creators from all over kind of thing. And at the time, I remember like, I did that. And I liked me and my friends, we liked the getting 40 creators all together at the same time playing this Minecraft thing. But I didn't like Keemstar. I didn't like the way they ran the event with it just being like survival games over and over again. And also, like, they used to basically, in the group DM in front of all of the other people, you had to post your view stats for each stream. to like prove that you were hitting the minimum view count that they wanted. And if you didn't, you got kicked. And it was basically like the duos, it was like either you needed like 2,000 something minimum yourself, or you could have less than that if the duo you were doing with it had like 10k or more. It was just so weird. Like I used to just send a screenshot and then do the embedded elements and tweak my numbers to make them bigger, because I was like, he's not checking.
You want to hear a quick fun fact about that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked about this with Phil's on his podcast, and he went, Jerome used to have to end his streams straight away so that his viewer count wouldn't drop during the outro. Otherwise, his numbers, otherwise, obviously, because like Twitch and YouTube are so interesting that you can have 5 minutes of like a little bit of less numbers and it'll just mess up the entire stream averages, as you know. So he ended the stream like straight away without doing an outro just so he could
keep the higher,
keep the numbers,
just embedded elements, that's what we all did. But yeah, well, like they never checked that it wasn't well ran. And it was me and one of my friends, I has Cupquake at the time, where we were kind of like, we could do this. Like we could do this ourselves. Like we have connections enough to like get the people. It's just neither of us knew how to run an event. And I had met Noxite earlier that year. So say this was like June through maybe, or I think it started in July through like August time. And I met Noxite at E3 in like June that year. And basically I'd said to Cupquake, where I was like, I know this guy Noxite who does Nox Crew, like they do Bedrock map stuff, like they might know who would be like who I could go to for this kind of thing, like asking to run an event, sort of stuff. So I then went to like Noxite and was like, hey, we've got this idea. We want to do a Minecraft event, like, but actually done well and like properly with like custom stuff. But we don't know like how that process starts. Like we're used to making SMP content. Like I can't run an event. Do you know or have any recommendations of like who I could go to, like Minecraft teams? Because I knew a couple Minecraft teams through like the different Minecraft creator summits that I'd been to, like in Sweden. But when I went to him with that, he pretty much instantly was like, you can come to us, we're doing it, you're not allowed to go anywhere else. Because for them, this was like another way for him to kind of like relive and restart the like Nox Crew game show that they used to do back in the day. So a lot of like our MCC games are just revamped Nox Crew game show games. Like there was Hole in the Wall back then, there was basically Sands of Time back then. And they were very much wanting to get like back in the event scene because they'd been doing just like Bedrock maps was their main thing for years. And that was kind of how it started. They made the event and I got 40 people to show up.
I honestly thought you guys met at Minecon. That's why I brought up originally the Minecon thing, because I thought that's where you two talked.
No, there were so many things, it's funny, where like me and Noxite could have met and just never did. Like at the Creator Summit, like didn't interact once. It turns out I was on a team for one of the like, normally the way they did the Creator Summits was it was just creators. And then in the last year, they told the Bedrock teams that they could come if they want, but had to cover their own like expenses for whoever they wanted to bring. But like they could come to like the meals and the events and the things we do. That's cool. And Minecraft thought that would mean like the teams would come with like 3 or 4 people each. That wasn't the case. Most of the teams came with like their entire staff of like 40. So suddenly the creators to marketplace devs were numbered like 3 to 1. So it kind of created a weird like we all kind of stuck to ourselves and they all stuck to themselves because like they knew each other, we knew each other, and to us they were like invading our space. But then on one of the days they did like a big team like events day kind of thing, kind of like the sports days you did in school, where like they numbered everyone like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, you were mixed up kind of thing. But what's hilarious is like I was in a team with Noctis from Nox Crew. Neither of us remember meeting each other. Neither of us do. There's photo evidence of it, but both of us were like, that's crazy, neither of us made a first impression well enough to be remembered. Like, because we got on so well now, so it's just so fun to think about like, oh, you know, we did meet, we just didn't talk.
I feel like I should quickly bring up our meeting, our previous.
Okay, yeah, because you've said this. My thing is like, I meet so many people at so many things, and I always feel bad when people are like, we've met. It's why if I meet anyone now, I say like, it's so nice to see you, because that can work if it's a first time meeting or a multiple time meeting.
Oh no, I'm going to emphasize this is not your fault.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, no. So in 2020, you were at MegaCon you did a meet and greet with you, CPK, the Orion Sound, and
Beckymon.
I was going to say Beckhamon. I wasn't sure if it was Eloise, but it wasn't. It was Beckhamon. Yes. So he did a meet and greet there. And so I met up with a friend at the time. I talked about this with Ollie on his podcast as well. We met up at the time. I met up with a friend at the time, sorry. And she's like, oh, you guys are doing a meet and greet. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And like, I knew CPK, I think, was due to come on the podcast like a month later. Like, he'd been scheduled in. And obviously, I knew the rest of you. But at the same time, I was still very new to kind of the Java scene. So like, I knew your content and stuff like that. But I wouldn't, like, meet and greets are interesting. I feel like they're mainly for people who really know what they want to talk about. Whereas with the four of you even, sorry, I didn't really know what I wanted to say. And it felt weird going up and being like, hi, CPK, you're coming on my podcast. Like, it just felt, I didn't like, maybe it was me overthinking at the time, but anyways. So I joined the line with her and I'm like, thing. And then as we get closer and closer, this has only ever happened once before. And maybe it's because I just overthought too much. My social battery imploded. It just died, right? You know, from today, I'm very chatty. Dead quiet.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Didn't think. So we go up and then Erin and their friend, they're talking, they've split into two, so they're talking to both of you. And I'm kind of just standing in the middle. And then I end up getting a picture with the four of you, sorry. So there was a picture on my phone of all five of us. And I left that interaction. I was like, oh my God, like I was with my partner, my fiance, Chloe. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And we just left. We left the convention straight after that, right? We weren't even done with it. And I said, I just want to go home. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just want to go home. Went home, sat there in silence for the entire day, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, God, I need to like somehow make this up. So then we go to TwitchCon 2024, don't see you. Go to TwitchCon 2025, don't see you. I was like, I'll try and see you at this year's TwitchCon. Didn't see you, and then I saw you at the football match in a little group, and I said to Chloe, I need to go to them now. I need to go to Smajor. And like I literally told her, I was like, Major's there. I need to talk to them now because obviously you wouldn't remember 2023, but I do, and that's why when I went out to, I was like, oh, it's like nice to finally meet you, and I used the word meet you because I didn't feel like the first one was a meeting.
Yeah.
And then like it was just I was like I was determined to make sure, like at one point I knew because I was casting the football match and I knew you'd be there because it was Kanban's thing. I was like, this is my best opportunity. And you know, so it paid off. So I'm glad.
I mean, it worked. I'm here.
yeah, exactly. I mean, to be fair, like it wasn't my original thing wasn't because I walked off. If you remember, I came up, talked to you a little bit, said hi, nice to meet you, blah blah blah. Then I walked off and I went, shit, should I do the podcast invitation? And I was like, I humming hard. Like I looked at my left hand as if that was like the podcast invite, my right hand as if that wasn't the podcast invite. I was like, screw it, and I like turned around with my left like on my left side as if it's like I chose that option, and then came back and went, oh, if you're ever interested, and then yeah. So that's
and I mean, it worked as it was.
But
that's funny.
Back to MCC then. Sorry, I keep kind of going off on little tangents.
No, you're fine. I love a segue.
So you start off with the 40 creators. I remember, was it CPK telling me he was meant to be in the first one, but then ended up dropping out? Or someone was meant to be in the first one.
I could, like, the early days of MCC, like, I struggled to get 40 people because this was an era where, like, there was Minecraft Mondays, there was Minecraft Saturdays, there was Minecraft, like, there was tournaments left, right, and centre with it. Like, no one wanted to do another Minecraft event. The only selling point was the fact that, like, it was done by Nox Crew. So a lot of people, like Phil and Captain Sparkles and that, knew Nox Crew from, like, the Nox Crew game show days. So it had a level of notoriety of, like, oh no, this is going to be good. But I had to, like, me and my Twitch manager, like, at the time, she had to go and, like, ask a bunch of the other Twitch managers to reach out to some of their people, like their Minecraft creators, to see who'd be interested in it, because I couldn't get 40 people at the start. Which is why, like, the early, I'd say MCC 1, 2, and 3, like, the rosters look kind of weird or odd with, like, some of the people that have been in them. Especially because, like, back in, like, those first ones, like, I didn't personally know Philza or Captain Sparkles. Like, I wasn't the one who invited them. That was technically Twitch. It just then became, then obviously once they were in, and then we did the event and they liked it, then obviously it's me who's doing the pings, it's me who's sending the sign up forms. Like, then it became very, oh, okay, this is his thing. Like, you go to Scott if you want in the event kind of thing. But then it's very quickly, I'd say about MCC 6, 7 was around when it stopped becoming a struggle to get people in and then started becoming a, like, I'm really sorry, you can't play for the next year. My waitlist is that long.
Do you still have that waitlist? Like, do you have a big list of names who are interested from even so many years ago?
Not really. Most of the people that were on the list for that long, like, eventually got in. Like, I remember it was like, I'm pretty sure like Elena and G waited about a year and a half before they eventually got added. The thing is, like, over the years, like, I stopped saying yes to people adding to the list because I was like, I feel bad adding you to this thing that you won't hear from a year and a half. So I just started saying to people, sorry, no, I don't have space. But I was like, I don't have space, but if you come back to me next season, I can give you a better idea because I would then have time to work through the list of people I had. Nowadays, I'd say like I have a handful of people on the list, but unless you're someone like it's mostly people who have come to me in the last year or so and asked about it because I know they're still interested. Because some of the people were asking like back in season 1 or 2, I've not heard from them since then, so I'm not going to assume they still want in, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like it was a very long wait time to get into that event. It still is.
How I mean, obviously it was a good product and it was a well-run event. It had a lot of, I guess I'm just going to use the word quote unquote big creators, right, just for the sake of it. And everything was right. But I guess like that aside, was there any other reasons why you was able to convince people so easily in the later, like, I mean, nowadays, right, obviously it's very easy. If you could, I assume, not to big you up here, you could turn around to anyone and just literally send the word MCC in a Discord link invite and they'd say yes.
A lot of people, but not everyone.
But how did you kind of build that repertoire, I guess?
I mean, I think the event kind of did it itself. Like, I think that originally when we started MCC, the plan was to do it seasonally. So we would do 4 events a year. That was going to be it. We were going to have one every few months. And we did the one in the November 2019. And then the next event back was February 2020. And it just kind of like between those two and then the success of the February one meant that like everyone was asking for us to do it regularly, and we were kind of like, oh, we hadn't really thought about this, but sure, like everyone seems to enjoy it. And then also the pandemic happened, so then it was like, cool, we have nothing else to do anyway, like this is great, let's run this Minecraft event. And it was funny because in that time, like when we did our first event, the first MCC I'm pretty sure was on a Sunday because MC Saturdays were still on, or Minecraft Saturdays were still on. But then by the time it came around to February, Minecraft Saturdays had ended, so we took the Saturday slot. And I think Minecraft Saturdays came back at one point, but then they had to like do a week that we weren't doing or move it to the Sunday because it was like, no, that's ours now. We take that Saturday. But it sort of like, sorry, where was I segueing there? I got lost. I yapped too much.
Talking about like getting people involved and like, you know, kind of building the repertoire.
Right then it just kind of like the event did well itself that I then had people asking to join from then on. Like, it wasn't as much me having to reach out. There were still a couple times where, like, the early days we still dealt with people signing up, saying yes to the event, and then just not showing up on the night. Was a common occurrence. So that then led to a few people. Like, back then, we maybe had 40, but we didn't have, like, like, now when I get sign-ups for the event, I normally have about, like, 5 to 10 backup people, like, that many people sign up and want in. Whereas back then, it didn't have that. So quite often what would happen is like, if someone's team member dropped out, I'd then go to the team and be like, do any of you have a friend who can jump in? Like, and back then it also used to be, the event was more done in kind of pairs. So like, people would sign up as a pair and be put together in pairs. So often, like, if someone's pair didn't show up, I would then go to that person and be like, do you have someone else you want? Because obviously, you're the outlier in this team now, so do you have someone else you'd feel comfortable streaming with? Like, the only, like, that was how Pearl got in an MCC, was because the person that was meant to be on the team with Gree and Shelby and I decided not to show up on the night, and I'd having to message Pearl and was like, do you happen to be awake at like 4 a.m? And she did. I was like, do you want to play MCC? And she's like, sure. And that was then, Pearl was in from then on. But like that doesn't happen now because I have so many backups now that if someone can appear, I use someone from the backup list, and also 9 times out of 10 no one is not showing up now with MCC.
Kind of crazy that it just takes one opportunity, right? I mean, in everything, like you know, you got invited to, like, if Keemstar never invited you to his really bad event, then maybe you would have never made the biggest Minecraft event ever, or even just down to the players joining. All it took was, you know, let's say, I'm just going to say a random name because we mentioned him, CPK. All it took was CPK subbing out on MCC 6 for Pearl to then sub in, and then now now become a full-time player. Like, obviously it wasn't CPK,
Yeah.
but just, you know, random names here. It's really fascinating that it just takes, like, and people don't
It
realize
just is
that.
life. It's that domino, like, butterfly effect kind of thing of, like, one thing happens to, like, I always am kind of a believer, not in, like, fate, but in a, like, if it's meant to happen, it'll happen kind of thing. And I think, like, that's such a prime example of it, of, like, there's been so many things and opportunities that just happen. Like, and it's all about what, like, just being at the right place at the right time. Like, there's only, like, a lot of content creation I've always said is, like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Like is the case for most spaces and careers. Like, that was always the thing I got kind of told growing up, was like, you want to network and make connections because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think it's also, like, there's a large portion of luck as well involved. Like, for me, it's things where, like, I met, like, Noxite at E3, but, like, I met him at a meal that I wasn't meant to go to. Like, he was going out for lunch with Shubble, and I just gate crashed it. Like, that was the only reason we met. And then we realized that we lived near each other, and then met back up when we were in the UK and, like, got on with each other. There's just so many little funny bits like that where it's, we just right place, right time kind of thing.
I guess it's I mean, it even goes down to what we were talking about earlier with InsideMC, right? All it took was me to send a friend request to someone and then to accept it, and then obviously you still have to work hard enough. Like you with MCC, you had to work hard enough to invite the right people who were actually, you know, going to make it a positive environment, alongside Nox through for making the product good enough. But then once you've got, like, this is what I can do because I've worked hard for it, then comes the luck part of, like, inviting the right person or having the right, my mum's, like you kind of said, my mum's very big on everything happens for a reason. She's, like, very, very big on that. So I kind of in suit follow it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess this is a tough one. So if you want to take some time to think about it, feel free to, right? If you could change, right, one thing about anything MCC related, be it past, present, right, and it have zero consequences, be it, like, you know, you invite someone or, like, you make a specific type of event or whatever, right? It doesn't have to be, like, positive or negative, but basically just has zero consequences for better or worse. Is there anything you would change?
Maybe. I think there's, like, again, it's I've always tried to be the kind of, like, I don't necessarily have regrets in the sense that, like, everything that happened has got me where I am now. Like, and again, that domino effect of I don't know if we tweaked one thing, like, would it have changed? So I've never really given it thought because I've always just kind of been like, yep, that's the cards were dealt with. I think I'd say there was an era of MCC where the player base and the viewer base became very much one subsection of the space, and the community got very toxic because of that, because that sort of side of the internet wasn't particularly nice if their creator wasn't having a good time. And that creator would make it very clear if they weren't having a good time, which then meant us on the team would just get harassed. I think in height, like, I'd like to have just never gone into that side of the space, like, never invited them, and sort of kept it separate, because since they've been gone, I think in, like, season 4 into 5, like, I think we got into a much better space where I think the community started feeling a bit nicer and a lot less hostile and a lot less, like, more I think also part of that came from, like, not necessarily just that space, but we as an event, like, we started as we're for entertainment. Like, MCC has always been, you don't come to MCC if you're wanting to play competitively. We are an entertainment show. Like, we're basically putting on a game show, the way we look at it. And my goal is always for the creators to have fun and the audience to have fun. That's all I want from it. I'm not worried about so-and-so being the best at this or that. And I think there was, again, that era of Minecraft where, like, we were adapting the event to be more competitive, and that pushed away a lot of our more casual players. Because basically it was like, if you weren't willing to keep up or try and do your homework or practice or, like, put in the effort as the sweats were, you just wouldn't have a good time. And it was kind of around season 4, I think, where we kind of had this conversation internally, and we're like, there's so many other Minecraft events now, like, that handle this, like, trying to be competitive, and they invite because it's one of the things that we almost have in MCC. The issue is, like, if you're really good at the game, I don't want you. Like, I don't have space for more S tiers in my roster. I just don't. And I don't have enough of them to, like, make the event balanced, but also keeping, like, because no one likes being the person on the team where they feel like the drag. Like, no one wants to be the person on the team that's like, oh, I'm here to be the nerf. Like, I'm here to bring you down because you're too good. And we kind of like pivoted it. It's like we used to have canon events in quotation marks and non-canon. And the only difference was like non-canon, you wouldn't get a coin. So that was things like Pride or Party or like all those kind of like one-off special events. We wouldn't do a coin for it. And we kind of pivoted and changed to being like, you know what, actually, every event's canon. Like every event gets a coin now. We're doing this for fun. Like, if you want to be the best of the best, go and play one of the other events. Like, there's so many of them out there who are more built for that. But what we're trying to do is put on a good, entertaining show for everyone involved. That's kind of, and I think that helped us build a community of viewers that liked that type of content. Like if you were someone who only was interested in the competitive scene, like MCC probably wasn't for you then. And that's fine. Like it's okay to go and watch another competitive event and like dip into MCC if you fancy the fun. But it sort of made it much easier from our end for like how we prioritize development and how I prioritized team building was when I was trying to make the event priority be in enjoyment rather than competitiveness.
You've pretty much answered it there, what I'm about to ask, but I'm going to ask you just in case there is anything else that you haven't mentioned, because it's more of a specific question, I guess. But is there a do you have a method behind like your like who you invite to MCC and the team making? Is there like a how do I word this? Is there a vision behind it, or is it kind of just like, I had a really cool interaction with you, I think it'd be fun to have you involved?
It chops and changes for like getting in the event. Like there's certain times where it's like, there's a lot of people, it's funny because I'll see quite often one of the things people say in Reddit is like, there's this argument that the only way to get into MCC is by being my friend, which I find hilarious because like so many of the people that get added to them might seem random additions. Some of these people have like, again, been waiting on this secret wait list for ages. Some of them I'll invite for the one-off events because it's like a lot of people will want an MCC and to stay in MCC, which I don't have the space for, but I do have space to let them come in and play the Pride event this one time and then remove them, or they can play the Twitch Rivals and then they don't play another one. But there's people like Ish, for example, like he was sort of he had the massive year with the Minecraft Civilization video blowing up, was sort of all over the space, and that then meant I met Ish at TwitchCon San Diego because he was getting one of the Crafty Awards and we interacted, and I was like, then learned who he was, learned more about his content, and was like, this is a person in the space that people want and enjoy, like I will invite. But I think there's also an element of like, whether people will acknowledge it or respect it, where like I basically I'm held to the highest standard for anything MCC does. Like anything they do, people, I think because I'm like a face compared to like Nox Crew as a company, people like get mad at me for anything and everything MCC related. So there is a worry when it's like a new creator in the space or someone I don't know or don't know personally, where it's like, if you come into the event and something happens, I will be held responsible for that, because people always say that you need to do your research and look into it and all this sort of stuff. So there is an element of like, yes, someone might be the big thing or people really want them now, and quite often like a lot of the times when there's a creator, like for ages people wanted Kuriwe and MCC, like that was spoke about the Reddit, same with Feinberg. These are people that like when I see these names I am making a note of it, I am keeping an eye on it, but I'm not going to just like add someone in the first moment they blow up, because I need to see where the dust settles. I need to make sure that nothing's going to come back to affect MCC as an event, and also then the players and myself, because it's weird, like it is a full-time job doing MCC, but like I don't really get paid for it. Like it's something that we just, like my payment is the social aspect that I get, or like the connections. So it becomes like a lot of mental workload of like making sure to try, basically I want to keep the event's best interests at the forefront. And also for every new person I add, that's a current member that has to get put in the bench. Like people seem to have this idea that I can just add new people and it won't stop like the other creators in there getting removed. And MCC's never been about views. I'm not going to be like, yes, if you're under 200 views, like you're dispensable, I can drop you whenever. I don't want to like, no, I don't know how to describe it, where like I feel an obligation to the people who have been there through MCC and were there for the days when we didn't. Like, I used to struggle to get signups and all that. I want to make sure I'm not ever just ditching those people because we've got newer, better, in quotation marks, like people in the event now. I always want to try and keep it fair, which is a hard balancing act, and it's something that everyone has an opinion on, and everyone thinks they can do better. But like everything in life, it's everyone has an opinion. I just don't need to listen to it.
I mean, I get it though, because like kind of to build on what you said there, but in my words as well, because I want to throw my hat in the ring. It's like if you add someone who, like, I don't know, an entire community says they want, and then that person then during MCC just like is incredibly rude to their teammates for whatever reason, right? Then it's like it falls back on you, because then people will clip in and be like, oh, why did Scott invite this person? Because they're thing. And it's like I don't want to say a certain name, so I guess I'll just use my name for an example here, right? This isn't me hinting anything. I'm just using it as a scenario. But it's like, say the people who've come on the podcast previously turn around to you and hype me up, right? That's all good and fun, and you may trust these people, right, wholeheartedly. But at the same time, until you come on the podcast and interact with me yourself, you can't then turn around and go, oh yeah, I'm just going to trust you, because it's not them who, if like, I don't know, a Cam, for instance, turns around to you and goes, oh yeah, Orbit's an MCC, right? If I then join MCC and I turn out to be a horrendous person, I'm not, I promise, then it's not Cam who gets the backlash, it's you who gets the backlash.
Yeah.
So you have to decide for yourself if I'm a good fit, basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same with like when people vouch for different people for, what's the word, like for series. Like if we're like, oh, we have space, like, or we're doing a new modded SMP, and someone be like, oh, like I have this other friend who's not in the, like, hasn't played with us before, but I think they'd be really good. Like it's how, like, obviously we've had people join like our group, for example, like Misadventures, where we had like Drift or Tanisha or Cam, were all like new people that came in through recommendations that hadn't played before. And that like type of thing is always really good, but it does become like oh well, if you're the person that recommended them, like if they're not active or something happens, like that reflects on you. And it's like what you said, like it doesn't, from a public perspective, it doesn't matter if someone else is the person that recommended them. I'm the one who will get the backlash if something happens. It's always me. So that sort of becomes the thing of like, I do see all this stuff with people who they want or what they request, but again, do they fit, like, have they been in the space long enough where like I can trust who they are as a creator? Have they, like, do other people in the event know them well enough that I can then go to them for opinions and be like, hey, I'm thinking of inviting this person, you've done stuff with them, do you have yes or no kind of thing, or any info? And luckily for me, like, I've got a very good sort of mutual respect with every MCC participant, where I can message pretty much any of them and be like, hey, I'm thinking of adding this person, I know you know them, I don't, what do you think? And they'll all give me an honest opinion about it. So it's every decision is a very informed one when it comes to like adding people, pretty much.
I'll say there's a few it's biased because they're like friends or people that I'm like fans of. There's a few creators who, I guess, out of the box, I feel like, if that's the word, and that you've added recently that I've been quite fond of, like May and Twitch Rivals Live was really cool. Chandrea and Pride I was very, very happy to see. Katie as well. You know, it's nice. There's a lot of people who I'm like talk to. Like when Shan joined, I remember DMing her and was chatting about it, and I was like, it's so cool to see her like be involved in that. And I think that shows as well that, like, you know, it's not like you said, I mean, I know you're friendly with Shan, but it kind of goes to show that you are just inviting people who you think are a good fit, and I think you smashed it as well in recent seasons. I mean, you've always done a great job, but like,
I think like part, like for like example, like Shan and Katie and no, but even May, like May obviously is done. Like May's done MC, like did Rising, I think, so did Nom and maybe Katie.
Yeah, Katie
like
was on Mace too,
they've all done like a Rising before, so they were in the space and I've known of them for years. Like I even remember like it was at an MCC party like 2 years ago now, where like Lagundo brought up Maddie Milkberries to me because she was too anxious to like say it hi or something. Yeah, she was like besties with Avondale, like Joe loves her, but like Legs had to be the one to come up and be like, see, he's not scary, and like talk to me kind of thing. And a lot of those people like I met through Bannerfall, which like that was, again, it was the same for like a POW series. It was Owen and Apple taking the risk on these new creators that they hadn't worked with before, to see if they fit, and they were fantastic additions. Like that's how I met all of those people, was through Bannerfall, and I worked with them long enough to know the type of creators they were and trust that they would be good representations of the event, which is why when the spaces opened up that I was like, I think they would all be good for, I went to them.
This next topic / question, feel free to beat around the bush because I am going to put you on the spot here. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing in advance here, okay? MCC Rising, you brought it up, right? Obviously, we'll talk about it in a second. We've seen MCC Rising 1, 2, and 3. However, we are now going 2 years without an MCC Rising. Could we potentially see a number 4?
See, for me, I'm like out of everyone you could ask about this crew, like I'm the least useful for that one because MCC Rising is the only MCC event that I kind of get to be like, not my monkeys, not my circus, because I don't have any involvement really. Like the team handle the applications. I see a short list of like the top maybe 8 videos for each of our brackets of like basically the way they do it is like obviously you've got the 1 or 2 sort of like 1 or 2 teams will be quite large creators that have never played, and then we have like different channel size brackets that we kind of like fit everyone into so that it feels fair. It's not just like all teams of massive creators or all teams of small creators, but I only ever see that short list, and then even then I'm only there to either be like, do we know anything about any of these people that we should avoid? And also, I get the same, like, I rank them in, like, 1 to 5, the same way the rest of the team do. And then it's whoever has the highest rankings, the team decide. But it's usually, like, it's the one event that I normally get to, like, not have to think about much. Which is always nice for me. So I don't think it's a never say never, but I'm not the person to get a confirmation yes or no from.
So no confirmation for MCC Rising this year.
Unfortunately not. I'm not the one that can give you that.
What about the next canon event? Will it be announced by the time this podcast comes out or no?
I don't.
This is out on the 24th.
We're not doing one in July, so no.
So I'm not. Okay. I guess to touch on MCC Rising a little bit, because I know you said it's not really your field too much, but I think it's just a fun topic to bring up regardless. Why did it come to be? Like, what was the idea behind it?
For Rising?
Yeah, right. Rising in the first place, as a concept in the first place.
I think it was down to, like, we had a lot of people, like, the very first time we did something like that was we had 2 teams join a normal MCC, because we had, like, the gamers doing what gamers do people. That's the only ones that I can remember, like, for the first one I remember the little song. And we had 2 teams come and just play a normal MCC. But obviously that we learned very quickly that we're putting 2 teams of people who, no matter how good they are at Minecraft, they're not experienced in MCC, and they were just playing for not last, like they were fighting each other for 9th. So we were like, fun idea, but it doesn't work putting them against us, like, as the creators. And also, like, it didn't, there was kind of that idea of like, oh, well, like, if we get these other creators and put them into MCC, it could help them, like, grow or get viewership or, like, eyes to their channels. But the issue with MCC is, like, you watch the creator you want to watch. You're not going and finding this random team that you don't know anyone on to view. Like, so that was why with Rising, we then were like, okay, let's do it, but open it for an entire event, and then it feels more balanced because everyone is playing the same amount of events that they had. So the rule was like, if you'd played one, you weren't allowed in, which is kind of where that came from. And then also the idea that, like I said back then, the wait list was like a year and a bit, so it was quite handy to also like get a few people who'd been, like, I think Jojo had asked to play several times or was on my wait list for ages, and then applied for Rising, and then our team got in, I'm pretty sure. And we were like, yeah, cool, you're in. Like, that's how it works. And it was why then the last 2 MCCs Risings I think we did, where there was like, I mean, even the first one kind of had, it just wasn't as official, where there was like captains. Because the idea was that, like, okay, you might be a like purpled viewer, but Purple isn't playing this event. But the team that Purple does practice and trained is, so you might want to watch his team. And that was kind of the idea of like, oh, let's bring in the creators who want to, like, obviously the captains were all people who wanted to do it. And it was kind of a nice way for like the creators to have a direct link to or the Rising participants to have a direct link to a creator who they could ask about the event and get tips and advice from, while also kind of easing the workload of like actually how to play off of the team and onto the community, which I think worked better as well.
think Rising 3 was the only one that officially had captain.
Yeah, I know other times had them because like that's how Ollie met Eloise, was like he kind of like was her team's like tutor in the first one, but that was
cool.
Again, the creators were just doing it themselves. Like that was because I remember at the time we used to have the practice server, and we made like a clone of the practice server so that like the Rising creators weren't like messing with the scoreboards or the leaderboards or that. And then quite quickly we had like a lot of the regular players being like, hey, can we get on that server? Because like they just want to mess around and play Minecraft practice. And now there's a 40 people or a server with a bunch of people who want practice and want to hear from them. So then it became a thing where it was like, oh yeah, we can do that. And then like I still treated like MCC Rising 1 with the practice server, like I still had my op admin powers, so I would like go on and mess with people and give them blindness and levitation during battle box and teleport people into like prison if they were annoying me, and like just made little funny bits like that, which we don't do now.
I think the really nice thing about MCC Rising as well is we've seen so many people go from Rising like into the main event. I'm not saying it's because of Rising per se, but I'd like to imagine it helped, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. Like it's sort of because obviously like Rising is a one-off event that then technically you're no longer eligible for. So the only way to ever play again is by playing in the main event. And it's sort of, it's not like a gateway straight in, but like Beck, Elle, Owen, Jojo, are all examples of, even like Katie and Nom and me are examples of people who have played a Rising and then later got to play another MCC. It just depends on like, because I remember even for like Elle and Owen, it was like a weird one because they went from Rising to then working at Nox Crew, and then we had to like come up internally with like what the rule is for like if you were an employee, can you play? Like that was, and the rule was that if you were an active employee, you weren't allowed to play. And I think the rule is now if you are an employee, you're not allowed to play. But it was something that like we never thought about or had to like figure out until then. So suddenly it was like, oh wait, no, we need to make rules now and decide what we're sticking to.
I love Rising. I always get I think I didn't get in contact with all of the teams sadly last year, but I made a video last year called the Ultimate MCC Rising. No, not last year, 2 years ago. The Ultimate MCC Rising interview. I was able to get 6 of the teams to sit down and do a before interview and an after interview. It was very fun.
Nice.
Well, a lot of people want to talk about it as well. Every single time someone's come on who's been in Rising, it always gets brought up as a topic. It just has to be, right?
Yeah, I understand. Like it is a fun thing, and it's something that like we do enjoy doing. It's just that like every single video that gets submitted gets watched. Like, and some of the people are good at remembering that we want like a few minute long videos. But some people send 12-minute videos, like 20-minute videos. Like the longer the video, the less likely you are to get picked here because we need to sit and watch it. So it takes a long time for like the team to go through like several thousands of videos of content to narrow it down.
And it's harder to keep you hooked for 12 minutes as well.
Mm-hmm.
What are, kind of going back into base MCC here, what are some of your favourite memories from your time working on it or even playing it?
I think probably the sort of more like specialty events we've done, I think have been fun. Like the rivals are always good, getting to do those in person and like in front of an audience. It just feels wild. Getting like the Ender Cup, working with Minecraft has been really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
It's been really nice being like, I don't know if we were for a while, I don't know if we still are like the only event that's been like officially endorsed by Minecraft. Like we work with them for several things. Like that has been really cool. Being like, oh, we're doing a job well enough that the game that we're doing it for like us enough to kind of like attach their branding to officially. Like when we announced the Bopper thing at one of the Twitch rivals, like that was really sick. Getting to work with them for the Ender Cup for like the anniversary was really cool. Just having that kind of respect from the company that does the game that we do was really, really fun. I think that's been super sick.
I think you're right. You are the only, as far as I'm the only event to, and even really SMP, anything really that's like community made to be. I know. Wait, bar mid-offs at TwitchCon. Yeah. But if you remove that, you're the only mini game event. There we go. So
I said up and like we were for the longest time. I was say mid-offs is recent,
yeah.
But yeah. But that's just been cool, like knowing we have the approval of the game.
It's interesting you bring up Twitch Rivals as well, because when you talked a little bit earlier about the competitivity and all that kind of jazz, the nice thing about Twitch Rivals is everybody gets a payout.
Yeah, I mean, that was very much a me decision. When we first were approached about doing Rivals, my only rule was that there wasn't going to be prize money, because I already got enough slack for the events not being, or for people saying the teams weren't balanced, let alone when there's actual money involved. And we had looked at different ways where it was basically they were like, we don't know if we're allowed to do blanket pay. We need to go and check. And luckily we were, but it's why the first place team will get $100 per player more than second through 10th. Because they needed legally to have a winner get more. But they were able to then give blanket pay for the rest, which was the only way I was willing to do it. Other than that, it was like, yeah, no, if you can't do that, we're making it a charity event, I guess, because I don't like MCC, especially back then, like it still already gets competitive and sweaty enough as it is when people are playing for like a novelty metal coin, let alone when it's paying for like actual money that can cover people's, like some of people's trips. So that was why it was very much a active choice and decision at the time to be like, no, I want blanket pay because I don't want this to get messy.
And now you've been doing a MCC Twitch Rivals live at TwitchCon 3 years in a row now?
Yeah, I think we're coming up to our 7th event.
Well, that's if it happens. That's if it does happen
true.
in San Diego. We can't.
It would be our 7th, but at this point, like, again, I'm not the one who deals with that. I kind of get brought in to like make teams. It's the Nox Crew side that deal with the actual like contracts and making sure everything gets signed off and that. But we are kind of at a point where like I can't ever see Twitch not wanting us to do it because we're the only thing that fills out their Rivals arena like that.
Yeah.
Like, even when I hosted Minecraft live at this TwitchCon Europe, it wasn't as full as MCC was the next day.
Yeah, so a fun fact about the MCC talk is so as I got off the train going in on the Friday to badge pickup, on a Saturday to the convention, it was one of the two, but it was early morning. I met Joe, and I was walking ahead of me, so I ran up to him and talked and blah blah. Joe Avondale. We were chatting about it, and like, did you? Because I think you were part of the people who were driving. Did you go from the trainway at any point throughout that weekend?
As in, like, took the train over?
Yeah. As in, like, did you? Yeah. Do you know how you had to walk around?
Oh yeah, there was that. Are you talking about the poster that had the MCC on the construction thing?
Because it wasn't even from. Joe told me it wasn't even promoting TwitchCon. It was promoting the convention center itself, the venue. That's the word. Yeah. So I said to him, I reckon MCC is going to be like 10 times bigger this year, and he was like, I think it was just him being humble. But he was like, oh, I'm not sure, like blah blah. And I went, okay, we'll see. And then I went into MCC, and I was like there early, like 45 minutes early, and we struggled to get seats to the point where we sat down, and just after we sat down, they had to open the entire top part, which was, I think, blocked off for health and safety or something like that.
No, the top bit was blocked off because that was where the Purple Lounge people were meant to be able to go and watch if they wanted to, was that very, very top bit. Because that's where you access that from, was like the back area of the convention where the partner lounge and that was. So that was why it was locked off, but because it was so after they had to open like the upper rafters, like,
yeah, kind of insane, right?
I know.
After all these years you put on this product, that like, no matter, like, if you wanted to, you could probably host a random MCC at some random place in England and it would sell out.
We'd considered it like in the past about trying to like do our own event. There's just so many, what's the word, like, there's so many costs and things of like the setups and all that and doing that, and like the Rivals team have always been very good to us, and they've upgraded over years from our feedback. Like the early MCCs, we used to use like headset mics and they were awful. Like the audio quality from the early MCC live Rivals were absolutely abysmal, whereas like that was sort of the main feedback we constantly gave, and now we have proper microphones that sit separate from the headset, and like better cameras, and things. Like they're slowly upgrading because we're doing them frequently and we're needing the better gear. And that's stuff that also, like, if we were doing it ourselves, we'd either have to team with a production company, which is then a cost, and also then like fly creators out and do all that. TwitchCon works really well because everyone is making their own way anyway. Like, people that are going to be there want to be there. It could be something way down the line, but as of right now, I think like the Rivals works really well for what we do and for what we need.
And also, you don't need to do it because, like you said, you have Rivals. It's not like, if you didn't have Rivals, maybe, but you have this almost guarantee that you're going to be hosting 2 in-person events every single year. So
Yeah.
Also, almost guaranteed from my wedding, not from yours.
Yeah.
To be precise there. No, I don't know. I love TwitchCon. I think it's nice as well because MCC, and for obvious reasons, is always the final event of the weekend. Like of everything. Like
Yeah,
everything
we've done it.
Microsoft has done
I think it's
before.
been on a Saturday a couple of it's always the final thing at an EU TwitchCon because of the time zone. So we need it to be late in the day in EU so that the Americans can watch it in the morning. If we did it earlier, it would throw off them. But in the States, it tends to be like the first thing on the last day, so that then the EU people are still awake.
I see. I just thought it was at the end of Europe because it's the biggest event.
No, fun enough, it's just the way it's like we always have to do it at the end, late in the day, just to make sure that it's watchable elsewhere. But I think there has been sometimes we've done it on the Saturday as well.
That makes sense. Which if you had to pick, do you prefer one?
Like
As in-
EU or any?
Yeah.
Always EU. EU is so much better. The vibes are just so much nicer EU convention. Obviously that could change slightly in that, like, part of I think that made the vibes as good as they were at EU was like I really liked Rotterdam. Like we all knew Rotterdam well enough now where we knew where things were. Rotterdam, I think, as a place is like a lot more chill as a city. But like if we weren't doing MCCs, like I wouldn't go to San Diego TwitchCon. Like I wouldn't make the effort. I don't think the actual convention has much to do as like if you're not going for like watching an event or going for panels or meet and greets. And I personally am a bit bored of San Diego now because I've done it so many times. Like I've been there and I've done the touristy things. I've done the zoo. I've done the aquarium. I've been to the beaches. Like everything has been done now. So it's also like whenever I go to the NA ones, I basically pay to work. Like, because I don't get anything comped for me by Twitch. So, other than like the ticket. So, I'm still paying for the flights in the hotel and such. So, I basically pay to go and work for a weekend. Whereas for EU, the flights in the hotel tend to be a bit cheaper. So, with the money from the rivals and things, it tends to at least break even.
I've also noticed as well, and this is one of my takes for Europe TwitchCon, is it's a lot easier for like Americans to come to Europe than it is for Europeans to go to America.
Yeah, I think because everything's a bit smaller in Europe, like people from the like Americans like coming over and then they'll maybe go to the UK for a bit because it's nearby and see people there, or they'll go to a different European state because they're over this. Whereas like America's so big that like other than like going to San Diego and then I'll often drive up to LA to hang out with Shelby, like because it's a couple hour drive, but like I'm never really flying to another state or staying in America outside of that convention. Whereas I think also just like it's especially nowadays, like flights are so expensive. Like travel and accommodation is so expensive. It just gets more and more difficult or like, difficult to justify going. As I said, I will always go when there is going to be an MCC. And once they moved the con, like one of my favorite TwitchCon NAs was Las Vegas because Vegas was really fun. Like I enjoyed going to Vegas, getting to go and see like Drag Race live and do all the casinos and like instead of everyone having to hang out at parties at night, it was just like, oh yeah, everyone's just going to kind of be in and around the hotel casino. Like, so you would just wander around, grab a drink, like chat to people, and it just felt a bit more, I don't know, like less party and more talking, which I always prefer. But Vegas was just a 1 year thing, sadly, so I don't think they'll be going back there. I just need it to be like 2028 so that contract's up and we can see where we're going next.
Back to San Diego.
Look, I pray not. They've locked in San Diego till 2028. I pray, because they used to move the cons every year.
Yeah.
Like, I went to them back when it was like San Antonio, or not San Antonio, it was San something, I remember. And it's always West Coast, because that's where all of their headquarters are based. But like, I've been to several, I remember Europe, like it was in Amsterdam, it was in Berlin, it constantly got moved around, and that was part of the joy of TwitchCon, was like, I get to a convention and I get to explore a new town. I was fine when they locked in Rotterdam for the few years because I like that, but San Diego after the first two, I was a bit like, okay, we've done it now. Especially when you had to throw in Vegas in there so that we now know there is a change.
I love Berlin. I love Berlin as a city. I've been there twice, and I'm going definitely 100%.
Yeah, you're excited for next year's then.
Yeah, I mean, I've had like my last two TwitchCons have been really good because I kind of established myself more, so I can actually justify going. But
Oh yeah,
like,
I get that fully. Like my
yeah.
very first TwitchCons before the pandemic, like TwitchCon Berlin and that like in 2019 time, like I went with like my friends at the time, but the only people I knew really that did Twitch were the people I went with. So like I didn't have any panels or meet and greets. I would just walk around the show floor. I'd get a bit bored. I could go to the partner lounge, but I didn't know anyone there other than the people I went with. So it was really funny for me going from like COVID to the conventions and then going to TwitchCon after COVID, which had MCC and Among Us, meant that I knew everybody. Like, it was really funny. The first time I took Cam to like one of the TwitchCons, I was like, yeah, I know quite a lot of people. And he's like, oh, okay. And then after he was like, you weren't lying. You talked to everybody. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of got that way now. I need to say hi to pretty much everybody at this stage. But I like that. Like, I feel more in the Twitch community than you used to before the pandemic, which is nice.
I tend not to get too emotional, but I got very like proud emotional Monday night after TwitchCon. Like I was sitting in a hotel room, and Chloe, she won't be going to next year's one, sadly. But I mean, she might, but the likelihood is no. But she's come to every single one since Paris. So with Paris, we did a round trip on a Saturday. We literally got the Eurostar in Saturday morning, did the convention on Saturday, met up with like a few people, and then went home Saturday night. And that was fine. Trust me, that was fine.
To be fair, with the heat wave we had in Paris that year, like that was good not to be in there any longer.
Well, it was also just I didn't know anyone. Like I knew some people from the community, but that was it. And then like slowly over the years, like 2024 was alright. I played in a football match. Then 2025 I casted it, and then like at the end of this year's one, I remember just sitting there and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna send a few people a friend request like for podcast for podcast sake. And like just literally I think I sent the friend request at like 4 o'clock after the match, and by 7 o'clock I had like all these notifications come in, and I went, God, this is like the most successful year. Like not even because it wasn't even my goal to make it the most successful year, but it was. And it's like how you felt, well, obviously before COVID and after COVID, you went from, wow, I'm going around this convention, this is really cool, to wow, I'm going up to people and they know who I am, this is mental.
Yeah, exactly. It just sort of, it was, it's like I always remember the first time going, the key moment where I realized that things had changed for me was going to VidCon after the pandemic, and this was like the first kind of convention after the pandemic. And I'd been to VidCons before, and like I was always of a size where me and Shubble used to just like walk around the show floor. We'd maybe tweet like, hey, we're going to be here if you want to come say hi and that, and like we'd have like 20 people come over, chat kind of thing. So this TwitchCon, like after pandemic, I remember we went and like we could kind of wandered a bit, kind of didn't, and then we'd like went out from the backstage area and it was like a quiet part, and we were like, we'll just do our usual, like we'll just tweet that we're here kind of thing. So if people want to come meet us, and we did that kind of thing, and within like 2 minutes it was really wild because you could just sort of see different people moving and sort of the crowds from a distance, like figuring out and then coming towards us. And it ended up being like that big a queue that like the security and then the head of the meet and greet person kind of came over and was like, hi. It's like normally we'd say you can't do a meet and greet here. Your audience are actually really lovely and have like already got themselves into a really nice, neat line. So like you can do it here if you want, but we do have space over at the meet and greet area which has like nicer lighting if you want us to move you over there. So we got moved over kind of thing and then did it at the meet and greet with like the backdrop and the photos rather than just like a black curtain separating one of the halls. But it was the first kind of like moment of like, oh yeah, no, this isn't what I thought it was anymore. I can't do that. And I remember like for the first few TwitchCons, like I'd always be terrified. I think it used to annoy like Becco and Adele a little bit because I'd always be like, guys, I don't think anyone's going to show up to the meet and greet. And they were like, shut up. And I was like, no, because like before the pandemic, I wasn't used to that. Like I wasn't used to having a meet and greet that would fill for 2 hours. Like that was such a new experience to me and something that I never kind of like took for granted and kind of expected to disappear at a moment's notice. And it was something that like I just had to learn because again, conventions before the pandemic and then my blow up in the scene, whether like not necessarily even just in like I gained X amount more subscribers. I think just the general awareness of me as a person blew up because of Among Us and because of MCC. Like, might be someone, like, I have so many people that come up to me at meet and greets, especially at TwitchCons, where, like, I don't know if they watch my content, but they love MCC, and that's what they come to talk about, and, like, they thank me for making MCC, and they say that's the thing that, like, them and their friends get together and do watch parties, or, like, I've had so many parents tell me that, like, it's been a lovely thing that, like, they've been able to, like, get invested in with their kids, and it gives them something to, like, watch together and do together, which is so nice to hear, like, that this little Minecraft event we do is that important to some people. And it's just been really nice, sort of like hearing all these stories that I never would have before at these events.
Oh, that's really cool, actually. That's really sweet. It's the same with the panel. I had a panel last year at Twitch. People were like, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "No, I'm more nervous that no one's going to show up." And then we had to get moved to a bigger room and still filled out the entire room and had to turn people away. I was like, "Oh, well then, I really underestimated that. Can I go you in the meeting group?" But
Yeah.
I think that's just a bit of humility. Is that a real word? Have I just made that up?
Yeah, like I know what you
humbleness.
mean. Like I've never. I think because like I have always in my group or my content group, like I was always the smallest creator. So like I was so used to going to conventions and people coming up to the group, but they knew Lizzie and they knew Joel and they'd know CPK or Ollie, but they wouldn't know me. So I always never assume anyone would know who I was. And that was just kind of like the mindset I had all the way up to the pandemic. So then I kind of still went into it with after the pandemic, and it took me a few years to kind of realize like, oh no, wait, people actually do want to come up to me. Like they are going to show up for the meet and greets, like they are going to show up for the events. But it was like a real kind of like eye opener and kind of like learning curve of like, oh, like this isn't what I've been used to, which is so cool, but it's hard to like easily train your brain out of thinking that way because that's what you were so used to.
Yeah, exactly. I realized that we are running out of time, which I know there's still technically 35 minutes left, but at the same time, with how much we need to cover, we're running out of time.
Okay.
Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about in regards to conventions or MCC? Or
Nope. I think I kind of covered most of it.
let's talk about SMP content then. We literally haven't talked about it at all in the hour and 40 minutes we've been talking. You've been in a lot of SMPs. As far as where you've made an appearance in Power Creations. There's the Witchcraft SMP. As you mentioned, most recently the Flight. Back in the day, there was Crazy Craft, One Life as well. I've loads of knowledge. But tell me, Minecraft SMPs, before I ask any questions, is there anything you want to say about it as a topic?
It's the only way, like it's what I love about Minecraft. Like I've always been a multiplayer gamer where like I like games that I know when I'm playing it, someone that is also sat in the world at their computer playing it as well. It's why like I love World of Warcraft. It's why I love League of Legends. And so for me, for Minecraft, like SMPs were the perfect way to enjoy Minecraft because solo servers or solo worlds, I eventually got a bit bored of. But being able to log onto an SMP and run around and bump into a friend or someone pranks you or changes something and it feels like the world is alive even when I'm not there, which is sort of what I love about it. And that's kind of what's always drawn me to SMP content.
What are some of your favorite SMP memories?
I mean, all of the SMPs I've kind of done have helped. I've learned something from or gained something from. Because back in the day, I was like, we did Crazy Craft was my first like big one. I had a couple other small SMPs at the time, but like Crazy Craft was my big one, and it was sort of like what gave me my initial like boom at the time. I think I like jumped from like 10 to 50k subs like really quickly. And it was a really fun time. Like that's where like I still am friends with the people that I played that with back then. Like obviously it's like Lizzie and Joel and Ollie and that, like even like Lauren and Joey were in that. It was a very good learning experience also in the sense of that was kind of when I very first kind of clocked on to like, oh yeah, Crazy Craft does well, but Crazy Craft will end. So I need to make something or have some other content for people to enjoy so that when Crazy Craft ends, they don't just disappear. Because a lot of people will watch a channel for a certain thing, not necessarily for the creator. And for me at the time, I then kind of pivoted and was also making a series called Harmony Hollow with one of my friends, Brett, at the time. And that became like the next thing that like for when Crazy Craft ended, Harmony Hollow did well because I'd given my audience something else to get invested in and attached to. And sort of we had our few like craft series, like we had like Funcraft and Trollcraft, and then we moved on to like One Life and X Life, and the life side of it's funny because there's the life side of series and then there's the life series. Those are two separate things.
Okay.
And then also like the life series was something that I was invited to by Green, and that was wonderful because it kind of revolutionized that recording format, which didn't really exist before, which was like you're only on the server for a few hours, one night a week with everyone at the same time, which I think helps make series feel full and busy because a lot of the time with like SMP content, people get busy or you're not always on at the same times because of different people's schedules, and it kind of can sometimes lead to a server feeling like it's empty. Other than it's almost like you're just living in a haunted server because you don't ever see anyone, but things change. Whereas the live series, it was a lot more structured, and we were recorded for X amount of time on, can't remember what day of the week it was, maybe Tuesdays or something.
Yeah, I think it's Tuesdays.
For a few hours, and we all uploaded the same time, or like the same day of the week on like a Saturday. And that kind of bled into like, that was the same format we then used for like Vampires SMP. And it's the same format that like POW have adopted for like their futures, like Pantheon SMP, the next YouTube one, will also be done the same. I've had modded SMPs that did really well, like Afterlife and X-Life, and I've also had some like New Life where I learned that like if a mod pack isn't stable on a server, that will just kill productivity, and stuff falls off. And I've kind of learned something from everything I've done. Empires was like the first time we kind of realized we could dip our toes into this more like storytelling side of content than what we had done previously, which was really rewarding to kind of be able to like tell a story and use Minecraft more as a medium for storytelling rather than just a game we play, which has then led to like things like The Flight and pretty much all of the POW series, like Rats and Pirates, and that were these type of things like that. Minecraft has always had roleplay, but I think there was definitely an era when Minecraft became unpopular. Minecraft roleplay became extra unpopular. That was the super, in quotations, cringy stuff that was there for the kids, and if you were doing it, like, that was cringe. Whereas now I think the idea of using Minecraft as a storytelling medium and like telling those stories is a lot more respected and a lot more desired, and I think that's also what has then encouraged such a wonderful community fan side where like they are able to write and tell their own stories with fan fictions and fan arts and animatics and things. It's really kind of like inspired their creativity as well, because they're able to get invested into these stories the same way they would as a TV show, compared to when I was spawning chickens in people's houses as the Egg Bandit on One Life. Like,
which this might be a hard one to answer, so if you want to say if you can't, then that's fine. Do you have a preference for the era? Like, which era do you prefer, the new era of SMP content or the old one?
It's funny because like we're currently working on like, I'm trying to figure out about doing a new SMP that's going to feel, or I want the goal to be more kind of like that older Minecraft feeling of like, we can go on and prank each other and build and do stuff, and like there's bits. I think like it's sort of the difference between like bits and improv or bits and character stuff, where like if we're on the flight and I'm running around, like I'm very in character if I'm interacting with people. But on like SMPs back in the day, like it used to be the thing of like every SMP would have some sort of cult and some sort of lawsuit at some point. Where like you'd accidentally kill someone, you're like, I'm going to build a courthouse and I'm going to get everyone to come in. So Lizzie's going to be the judge and like Shelby's going to be my lawyer and we're going to sue you like for 64 diamonds. And like technically that is improv, it is roleplay, but like we're all playing ourselves. We're just playing ourselves in this world. And I want to try and see about doing a series like that. I think it will be nice to bring back. But I do think like my favorite sort of series I've done, I think would have to be Empires. I think Empires was such a lightning in a bottle series for us, where we didn't go into it intending it to be a story-based SMP. Like the original plan was, we're all going to have one export that only we can do. For me, it was wool. We're also going to pick a build style, so I picked like elven fantasy. And we're all going to pick like a location that we build in, like predetermined, like the biome. So I was in the snowy mountains, and that was as much as we went into it. It was just going to be planned Minecraft stuff. And I think at the time, like for all of its pros and cons, like the Dream SMP was sort of a big like leader in the sort of like improv role playing being more acceptable again and understood, rather than it being seen as something cringy. And that sort of then led in Empires for us to kind of start using that as a bit more of like oh well, we could do that as well. Not as intense, but like, and also because we weren't live, it gave a lot more, you were able to do a lot more with editing. So like we'd get custom armor and tools made to make us all stand out, and maybe the way you did that in the video was like, oh, I need to go and get this thing from this place and that from that thing, and you'd throw it all onto like a smithing table, and then I'd run up and pick all the items up and throw down the custom item, and then go back to where I was and be like, oh, it's all made it together. Like that level of like stuff that you're able to do, silly like roleplay bits on YouTube that you can't get away with in stream was fun. And I think it was just I said like such a lightning in a bottle series for us, and such a kind of sort of pivotal moment in my channel, and something that I'll always hold dear. So I know that didn't really answer your question. It's kind of like, I think both of them have their advantages of the old style and the new style. It's just sort of, I think it's healthy and fun to kind of have a healthy mix of both.
Follow-up question then. Do you prefer scripted or unscripted?
I don't think I've ever really done scripted per se. Like, I used to have a series way back in the day which was called Fairy Tale Fallout, which it was a fully scripted Minecraft like roleplay story kind of series. But everything else I do now, like, there might be, it depends what you mean by scripted, in the sense of like, there's not like, I don't have another notepad open on my screen that I'm reading word for word, but it might be like, hey, we want to tell this story. Like, I know my character's going to get this letter, and then I'm going to have to go away and do this thing because I wrote the letter off stream and I've given it to myself. There's always going to be that level of like scripted, but I don't necessarily pre-think about like how I'm going to react or who I'm going to tell, because I don't know who I'll bump into. It's a lot more improv rather than scripted. But again, I really enjoy improv-y stuff. It's been fun to like explore and be able to like tell different stories as these characters. And like, for example, like Vampires SMP, like my character was just a Disney villain, basically. I was like, I want to just be evil because I'm evil. I don't want some horrible backstory. I'm just going to be fun, evil Disney villain that's really sassy, and you kind of like don't like them, but also they're slightly too charming to hate. And obviously, like, that's not me as a person. If I didn't have the option to do that, it would just be people like not liking me as a person. But it's nice being able to dip into these kind of characters and play these elements without it having the same kind of like, what's the word? Damage to my reputation as a person.
I get you. That makes sense. Yeah. So the SMP topic is so interesting because there's just so much to cover, but I don't know how to cover it all. That's the problem again with you being in so many bloody SMPs.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I think one of my like first introductions to you, funny enough, is because of the Witchcraft SMP. So I think I might just bring that one up.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, I can't even remember what role you played in it, but I remember you were in it for sure. How was that SMP? Like that was more of a short series one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Witchcraft, fun enough, was a really funny one because it was Joey's series, and he kind of came into it with the idea of like, it's going to be, again, similar to like life series format, and like it's going to be 8 weeks. It's going to have a end goal that we're all striving towards. But unlike life series, you can kind of put as much time as you want or can put into it. And at the time, I remember not really knowing how it would do, but I think I didn't really have... I'm a sucker for anything like magic and superpowers, so the moment I was told, like, you get to be a witch, I was like, I'm in. And then it was also, at that time, it was like, cool, everyone has a unique, like, class of magic that only they can do. And for me, like, my persona and the way I present a lot of the time was very bright, very colorful, very friendly. So for Witchcraft, I was like, let's go necromancer. Let's go dark, evil magic. And not necessarily evil person, but like using darker sources of magic to get my goals, whether they're valid or not, but like that kind of like thing. And it ended up being like I found that a lot of the time with YouTube where like the things I'm not sure how they'll do just pop off, or stuff I'm not expecting to do well, like, just ends up blowing up for some reason. Like, I remember an old series, Cutecraft, was also the same thing. And Witchcraft was really fun because, again, I'm a sucker for anything with, like, magic in it. And we had so many different Minecraft magic mods, and a lot of them are quite grindy, in the sense it's like, oh, to be able to do this ritual you need a demon heart, and to be able to get a demon heart you need to summon a demon, but to be able to summon a demon you need these chalks, and to get the chalks you need to have done this thing. Like, so it became a really fun thing to like work away at on stream and doing all that. And then for videos it would just be a lot more like, I did this and now we have this thing. And for me it was kind of a mostly Minecraft SMP, but then we had the occasional like kind of character moment whenever we'd interact. But it was a fun series to play with, and also like the whole thing was we were doing a competition to become the next Supreme, and then I won, so I got to be the next Supreme for that, which was fun.
The main character.
I mean, it got to a point where, like, realistically, it's like all things in media, like, dark magic is the strongest for a reason because it's dark and evil. So I really don't know how I was going to lose at a certain point with that series. I became part lich. Like, if you killed me, I just didn't die.
It's overpowered. And then, because I guess keeping on the kind of series themed ones, you mentioned it there with Vampires SMP. That was the first time Power Creations did a YouTube upload SMP. And it seems like you really enjoyed it. I mean, if I look at your channel here, you uploaded like a fair few episodes of it. Yeah,
I mean, Vampires SMP was a really fun one for me for multiple reasons. Like, Apple and Owen kind of consulted with me a lot for like how that format worked, because obviously they knew they wanted to do similar to how we do live series, but like they had a lot of questions like, how does that work? What about this thing? Like, if people can't do a week, like, what do we do? This sort of stuff. And the same as a lot of the people that they knew at the time were very streamer focused rather than YouTube focused. So I also had to come in with a lot of recommendations for like, oh, I think this person like Drift would be good for it, like Shelby would be good at it. The type of people, because a lot of things with like YouTube content with creators is like, I describe like vampires or live series almost as like free content, in the sense that like, I know I'm guaranteed one video a week that I show up for a few hours one night a week, and that's it. Like, I've got free content. I don't need to think about a video that week because it's happening on a Tuesday and it's uploading on Saturday.
Yeah.
And that was like a really enjoyable format to agree to, because it's like, oh, I don't need to think like, what am I going to do for episode 6? Because we're all on at the same time, stuff will happen. So that was really fun, and I think obviously Vampires did way better than any of us expected. I played like a very similar character, basically in a series called Afterlife, where the whole point of that series was we used the Origins mod, so every time you died, you came back with a new origin, so a new set of powers and weaknesses and things that worked. And I, at the time, back then, it ended up getting a vampire origin, and I played that for a long period of time, and it's a very, like, similar kind of like, hee, I'm all-powerful vampire, but maybe not as sadistic as my vampires character. But when we were doing it, I instantly was like, I'm going to basically do an updated version of that skin, because it's iconic, and it's known in my audience, and I knew what I wanted to do with it. But Vampires did so much better than I ever could have expected. And it still, to this day, like, has such a core audience that like really love it. And it's wild to me that we're like, that was like 7-8 months ago now. Like, we'll be almost a year. No, I think the episode was 10 months ago. Like in October or September time, it'll be a year, and that's crazy to me.
Already, yeah, it's come really, really cool. That's what happens though when you're working constantly on content. Your days kind of just blend in with each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's funny looking at your channel as well, because whilst Vampires SMP was being uploaded, there was also the Minecraft Build and Seek, and then there was Half-Life episodes, and then there was the Spies gameplay. It's just funny that like, because you're so like, you just make so many different forms of content, and they all happen at the same time.
Yeah, I think I go through like high and dry phases with uploading, where like I've always been a kind of a believer in like, I'd rather not upload than upload for the sake of uploading. So there are times when I have a series like Vampires and I'm like, this is great, it's basically one video a week, and then sometimes like the escape room stuff, like I'll throw that in extra, or sometimes certain streams will be like, that was really fun, that should be cut down to a video. But then I also have at times where I like just haven't uploaded in like a month because of it. Like, I don't necessarily count Vampires or the Life series in the same kind of bracket as like SMP as I would like Minecraft SOS or Misadventures or Empires, where like those series I can get as much content as I want because I can stream it when I want, I can log in when I want, and I can upload when I want. Whereas the other series where it's more of a like stricter recording format of like one upload a week and only on for a few hours, it kind of changes the way you look at content, in the sense of I am limited, but also I don't need to think about it, compared to the other one where it's like, I could do as many episodes as I want, but then it's also, oh god, I could do as many episodes as I want. Like, how do I narrow that down to make sure they're all worth it?
You ever get a bit overwhelmed with content creation?
I mean, yes and no. I think it's just standard when you've done a job as long as I have, that you kind of get burnt out on stuff. I used to find, and I mean still do now, but like conventions are what always kind of reignites my drive or my passion of being able to go and like meet a bunch of my other friends who are also doing the same thing and like chat with them and hang out, but then also being able to meet viewers who are able to like talk about the content and tell me what was important to them about it or what mattered to them. And that helps kind of like re-justify it and like re-drive it in my head of like, oh, okay, like I'm making a difference or this really helped. Like it's really rewarding to kind of get that feedback in person. So conventions tend to be what drive me forward.
It's definitely a big, I know I've talked to a lot of people who have turned around and went TwitchCon, just it's such a big motivator for just grinding, really, right?
Yeah.
But you kind of get a taste of what can be as well. Like if you like, with you, because it's full time, you go to TwitchCon and you're like, yeah, this is what I get to hang out with a bunch of cool people for the entire weekend and also do cool stuff. And that only happens if, well, not only happens, but only happens if you're a content creator.
Yeah, exactly.
With that then, I know the SMP talk was a little bit shorter. It's only because I want to get into some Twitter questions before we wrap it up here. Is there anything else that you thought I might bring on this podcast that I didn't, you wanted to speak about? Or have we done a pretty good job of covering everything?
I think you've covered everything that I can at least think of.
Wow, okay then. Right, Twitter questions. Here we go. So, okay, well, this one isn't really a Twitter question, but it's from Cody Cast, and I just don't think it's funny. I hate that guy so much. No, don't. Cody's lovely. That's a S major guest. Get it? Because like Major is big and Smajor is his name, like guys. So yeah, I don't really know why I read that, but that's from Cody. So I just want you to keep that in mind. No, Cody's incredible. He's been on the podcast as well. Very nice. Back now. This one's from Shiny Solo Angel. Hello, Scott. What is your favorite memory out of everything you've done over the years of your career?
Probably getting to host Minecraft Live, I'd say. Getting to do it like at TwitchCon was really, really sick. So probably that.
Oh my god, we said we were going to get into it and we didn't even get into it.
I know, I noticed that. I clocked it there.
I just realized, okay, let's quickly talk about it now. We can use that question quickly to talk about it. Yeah, Minecraft Live is insane. So you did it back in 2018, like we mentioned, and we said we'd get into. And then obviously again in 2026. How did both times come to be?
I mean, it was just I got asked for the Nashville one, the one in 2019, but I was actually quite a late audition. I think like Shelby and Marielle and Masso had already been picked, and I think they originally wanted, I want to say Green, who didn't want to do it. So then they asked me, and I was like, of course I want to do it. Yes, I would. And back then it was a totally different, like, totally different ball game, where you used to like have to come up with a game show. So like I had to come up with like a game idea, and then I also had to be in other people's segments, and then there was outfit changes between segments, and it was a whole proper production. Compared to Twitch Rivals, it was just me and Agnes. We were in the same outfit the whole time. And we just stayed on stage the whole time, and it was basically we talked, and then they'd play a video. We talked, and they'd play a video. But it was nice to like get back to doing it live, because that was like the first one they'd done live since the last one I did live, because they changed to the pre-recorded format from the offices. So it was kind of just I got asked specifically for the Rivals one, which was nice. When I was at the Hermitcraft charity event in Seattle, we were at the Minecraft offices, and Anthony, one of the Minecraft people, was like, it said, he's like, I can't tell you what it's for, but we're doing something with like Agnes, and we'd asked her who she'd like to do it with, and she'd said like, I don't know, maybe like someone like Scott, I want to do it with Scott. So it was nice to be like, oh, okay, that like specifically been requested filled me with enough confidence where I'm like, well, they think I can do this, so I can do this. Rather than feeling like you kind of have that like, oh, do I deserve this opportunity or deserve this spot? Or like maybe they've put confidence in the wrong person. I didn't really have that the second time round, because I was like, no, I know I was specifically requested. I wasn't a backup. I wasn't because someone else said no. This was they wanted me for me, and that really helped
That is really cool, and you did an incredible job as well. I
Oh,
must
thank
say.
you.
I've only recently just started watching Minecraft lives. Funny enough, like I kind of dwelled into them, but I wasn't really crazy into it. But it was like
Yeah.
late last year I started kind of caring about them a bit more, and then started watching you up on and knowing like it was you up on the stage as well, and like obviously knowing like obviously any creator would be cool, but when I don't know the creator, it's like, oh, this is all right, sick. When it's actively someone you know and you're like, yeah, they've worked hard for this. It's a lot more fun to watch, I must say.
Yeah.
And you were, sorry, this was kind of partial on topic here. You was at the Minecraft movie premiere as well, right?
Yeah. I got
London.
to go to the studio in like March that year with a bunch of people to like, we got to see a bunch of the movie props, which was really cool, and learn, like, we got to see some of the stuff for the movie before it was then public. And then we got to go to the premiere in London, which was nice.
I was at the premiere in London as well.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, in the behind the barriers in the fan area.
It
On the wrong
was a
side.
cool time. Yeah, on the wrong side. Next time you'll be on the other side.
No, but I also mean like as in like the creators came in from the right hand side.
Oh, yeah, but you all were stood on the
and I was
left.
on the left. Yeah, I told this story in the last podcast. I won't with King Spills this. I won't like repeat it again for people who have to listen to it again. But,
Yeah.
one thing I'll add to it, I realized I forgot to mention on that one was I was surrounded by a bunch of people because it was like adults, right, who didn't really know too much about it, and they were getting excited over seeing like Sydney Sweeney's mum there, for example. And then there's me like, God, I wish I was on the other side where all the content creators are who I actually care about. But I got to see I did the cast in person, so I guess there's an upside, right? I'm not going to be negative about it. The next question here comes from Burbs and Burbs and Roses. So we've already answered their second question, but I'm going to ask their first one, which they said isn't as serious, but I'm going to ask anyways. How does he handle being so glamorous all the time?
I'm only glamorous when I know I'm being perceived. Outside of that, I do not think I could say that I'm glamorous in my day-to-day life.
This one is from Libby Boswell. Do you have big plans for Pan SMP? Could you give us a hint on your character?
I have big plans in this. Like, the thing with those type of series is really funny because there's only so much you can plan for, and I never find planning too much helps because stuff just goes absolutely left field the moment like you least expect it to. Like, the way we ended Vampires was never a way that Owen or App was seen as a possibility of us all like basically teaming up, turning certain people and curing someone and leaving. Like, they never seen that as like an outcome that would happen. But the only hint I will give is that like I've seen so many predictions of people trying to guess like what gods we will be like related to or attached to. And so far no one has guessed mine. Not a single person has guessed mine right. I've seen a lot of people wanting it to be Aphrodite, but that felt like the too obvious a choice, so I didn't pick that when I was picking. I picked something a bit different. But no one right now has picked it or guessed it, at least from what I've seen, which has been fun.
Is your god in Epic the Musical?
I've not watched Epic the Musical, but I think so.
Oh, wow. You're missing out. Epic the Musical's great. I love it. Okay, I actually can't think of it. I was gonna try and make a guess, but I actually can't even remember. Like, if you're what's the god of the sea called again? Poseidon.
Poseidon?
Yeah, that's it.
No, I'm not Poseidon. Sorry.
That was my one guess. The next one is from Kim, which is or QM. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Which is a question I'm actually asking for that one video that I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see MCC running 5 years from now?
I mean, yes and no. Like, you could have asked me this back at the start and I'd have probably said like, oh, I don't know, maybe, and we're still here running strong. So it seems silly to say no when it seems to have just been like stride after stride with MCC. Like, we may not be hitting nearly 1 million concurrent viewers, but we are working with Minecraft now. We're still doing Rivals. Like, definitely, like everything, it seems to have ups and downs, but I would love to still be doing it. I've never been one of those people that's good at like having like a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. Like, I know what I'm doing like 2 weeks from now, let alone what I'm doing 5 years from now. I just always feel very fortunate that I get to do this as a job, and I will continue to until I can't. But the Hermits give me hope that I can still be in my 40s doing Minecraft content, so I've still got a while.
The next one is from Raven Conspiracy. Sorry, I don't tend to build on the Twitter questions. That's why I just firing through them. What do you think about when making aspects of your characters / stories like skin, lore, background connections, anything you can think of?
I think it depends on the project. Like certain things, I remember like my Rats 2 character, I just scrolled across an outfit that I really liked, and was like, that's cool. I'm gonna have a little rat in that. And it kind of had like potion, like apothecary stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a potion rat. Like that was kind of how that character advanced from I'd seen something that inspired it and then I ran with it. Whereas say the flight, like I knew I was like we were allowed to have our own magic type. That was kind of the rules. I wanted to have custom spells and custom magic. So the sort of starting was what magic do I want, and I went for ice. Because I like the idea of being like there was so much ice magic in media that I was able to like pull references from. So like I have an ice bridge that I basically sent gifs of Frozone from The Incredibles, like when he does that thing where he sprays in front of him and rides it. I like wanted one spell where like I encase myself in ice and become invulnerable, which is just May from Overwatch. It was just so many bits like that I was able to like easily pull from. And once I knew the magic type, I was then able to build the character. And for that one, I did it like I knew Pyro was doing fire, and I was like, this could be really fun to like have a kind of interweave story or characters that know each other. So we then played with like having a history there, which was good. It changes time to time. I've had the other thing that kind of inspired my flight character was literally a song. Like I seen a Bridgerton TikTok edit using the song Little Miss Perfect. And I was like, I kind of like the lyrics of this song and the idea of this. Like, I've never played a closeted character. Obviously, it's something I experienced as a person, but I've never played it. So I was like, that's an element I've never explored and I kind of want to try. Like, yeah, let's go for that. So for me, inspiration kind of comes from anything and everything, and it changes from series to series.
It's funny you bring that up because our last question here now is from Cherry. When you first made your account, did you know you wanted to be open about being gay, or was it a development alongside your content creator journey?
When I first kind of made my account, like I actually was like, I'm not going to come out. Like I never wanted, or I was like, no, like I was like, maybe eventually down the line, like if I have a boyfriend, it's kind of hard to hide kind of thing. But it was very like, no, I don't want, like, I never wanted the idea of people to be like, oh, do you know Scott Major? And to be like, oh, yeah, that gay guy. Like that was, I never wanted me to be kind of reduced to just my sexuality. And that was kind of a long mindset I held for quite a few years until eventually it kind of flipped. And I kind of like for growing up, like my representation for gay people was Glee. That was my best representation for like someone being openly gay. And I kind of realized where I was like, if I can come out and make some kid out there that's not sure about themselves around the closet see me doing well and doing a job that I enjoy and having friends and living a good life, if I can show them that that's also okay for them to do, then it's worth it. I was like, if I can have one person feel comfortable with themselves, then that's worth it. And that sort of was where I changed my mind of like, I was doing it for them rather than for me. And it's something I've been told so many times, and it always like genuinely fills my heart with so much joy. Like when people tell me that I was the reason that they were able to like discover who they were or come to terms with it. There was a TikTok like that went round. It was a video that my community had done from a while ago where like basically like so many people had submitted their reasons or like how I had helped them coming out, and it was just like message after message after message, like hundreds of them. And I feel like I've like had tears when I was like watching it kind of thing, because it's always the hope that like I make a difference or I make an impact, but actually getting to see that and hear that from people in comments or at conventions always just makes it worthwhile. Like it just, I don't know. I do it for other people, and the fact that I'm making a difference and making people okay with themselves and learn that like your sexuality is a part of you but doesn't define you is always been so important to me, and something that I will continue to do and champion as long as I'm able to.
No, I think you've done an incredible job, and like in the process of it as well, I've also turned MCC into this big product, but also crazy charity fundraising as well.
Yeah, it's been nice being able to use like the events and different things, like not even just MCC, but using our sort of platform to raise money for things like WWF, and Cam has like the cancer research and like the charity football match, and just so many things to like help raise money for good causes that need it has always been something I've been very fortunate to be able to do.
We are very glad to have you as well.
Yay.
With that being said, then, that sadly brings the end of this week's Inside MC. I feel like we could have gone on for way longer as well, I'll be dead honest, but alas, I also have to edit this up.
Yeah.
Before I do the outro here, I always like to give this opportunity for you to promote yourself. So for anyone who may have heard of you or not sure where to find you or all that kind of jazz, where can people find
You can find me on YouTube under Dangthatsalongname. You can find me on Twitch under Smajor. And then you can find me on Instagram and Twitter as Smajor1995. But I have a lot of different content on different platforms and some cool new projects that'll be coming out soon. So if you've ever thought about time to get involved, now would be the time to hit the follow and the subscribe button.
Very exciting times. There we go. Well, thank you all for listening, thank you all for watching, and thank you for being here as well today, Scott. It's been absolutely incredible.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. This has been Inside MC. Stay safe, don't eat too much bread. Pieces.
Bye.